preparing to live stream the movie. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Fucking come on. Okay, cool. There we are. Talking with Jaws. We were going to talk about something else with Thupa, but he has abandoned us in our hour of need, as he is wont to do. Like the hero of every good story, you have to abandon your friends and then slowly feel guilty about it and show up later on a horse.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Jaws?
I'm still a little bit tired and fatigued, but yeah, not too bad.
So am I. I don't know why we got up so early.
Yeah, especially since Tupa is not here. Anyway,
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right.
yeah, so we decided to do the stream anyway, even if he's not here, just with a slightly different topic.
Yep, plan A was talk about Brandon Sanderson. I will give a little taste by saying I am going to be the bad guy and say Brandon Sanderson is overrated. Not that he's bad, just that he's overrated, which is kind of easy to say because he's the biggest author in the world right now.
Kind of one of the biggest. I was very pleasantly surprised. I've only read The Way of Kings, which, okay, is a fucking long book. But yeah, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it, and most of all by how readable this entire book is. It's like he has like one of the most readable writing styles that I have ever read. And yeah, despite it being such a long book, it never feels fatiguing to actually read the actual writing. And if you think of most other fantasy writers, you kind of think of a sort of writing styles that are more dense or more feature more description and things like that. Like, let's say, The Lord of the Rings, which is not that fun or easy to read, actually, or Song of Ice and Fire. And it's kind of funny that Sanderson has this, I would kind of say, this sort of fast food style writing, which is very easily to consume, basically, but manages to put it in a massive epic fantasy story and make it work.
We'll get into this more later when I am railing into Thupa's ass about how he has horrible taste. But I think one of Sanderson's biggest flaws is that his writing is too readable. I think he's way too handholdy. My biggest problem with Sanderson's prose, the single biggest problem among several problems, and we don't have to get super deep into it here, he handholds the fuck out of the audience, and he explains things to death.
He kind of
never
does.
He never just lets things happen. He does this. He has explanations in the prose where there is no official narrator in these books, but his narrative voice will explain things in context and describe them. And he does thoughts. So he has characters thinking in italics and describing what's happening and explaining things to themselves. And then he also has dialogue where pretty often a character will just turn around and give a little speech explaining the concept of what they're doing, what their motivations are, and what they expect to happen. So you have many, many sources of explanation coming fucking constantly, and I just find it exhausting.
Yeah, it's not very subtle.
Yeah, he doesn't let you miss a fucking thing in that book. You would have to legitimately try not to understand what characters are doing at every single moment, unless he's holding them up as a villain. Like I think in the end of Way of Kings, he hints at this evil organization and you see a guy being creepy. He'll allow that to be a mystery, but he tells you that it's mysterious. He makes it clear, oh, this is supposed to be the mysterious hook at the end of the book.
Yeah, I mean, he does, like, he has like 3 or 4 different pretty good reveals actually at the end of the book, which I quite liked.
I don't think it's bad on a story level, but the book is 400,000 words long. He could easily lose 100,000 words just by cutting out the constant explanations.
Probably. The thing that I find the strangest are some of the interludes, which seem to have nothing to do with the actual plot. I mean, they are very short, and the ones about the assassin do matter, but the other ones, I have no fucking idea why they are there, and they could have easily been cut. I mean, I guess they will become relevant in the later books, but they do not need to be in the Way of Kings.
No. Do you know the story? I assume you do. Do you know the story behind The Way of Kings and how Sanderson, his production process went?
No, not really.
Sanderson tried to write The Way of Kings several years before he actually wrote the version that launched. And when he wrote it, he had all the characters because he planned it out in advance. He had around 10 protagonists, 10 major point of view characters, not counting all the other point of view characters that fill out the ranks. And he wrote a book that was obviously a prequel to an obnoxious degree, where he introduced all 10 of his protagonists and he got them all about 8-10% through their character arcs in one massive book. So it was a colossal book that was nothing but setup.
I mean, yeah, the Way of King is mostly just setup.
Well, his explanation for Way of Kings, the one that actually launched, is he said he picked 3 characters, Kaladin, Dalinar, and Shallan, and he tried to get them about a third through their arc, and then he would focus on other characters and start bringing them in over the next couple books. So Way of Kings, the version we actually got, that is extremely focused and fast-paced compared to what he actually tried to do the first time.
Yeah, well, big ambitions reminds me of my own currently on hold stuff.
I guess that's true of my on hold stuff as well. Although my project that I have on hold, the one that's just sitting on my computer somewhere completely abandoned, it wasn't ambitious in terms of scale. It was ambitious in terms of what it meant to me personally, and I cared way too much about it.
No.
I had way too high hopes for what it might be, and eventually I just got fucking lost and had no clue what it was supposed to be. Kind of obvious the dangers of trying to write a memoir less than 2 years after the events happened. You're really supposed to wait a while.
I mean, it depends. And in that case, if you wait a while, then you might forget details unless you write everything down in some sort of outline beforehand.
Well, I did write a lot of it down, and you're supposed to wait and forget details. That's what stories are. It's when you forget what actually happened, remember the big moments, and then throw in a bunch of fluffy bullshit to string together.
Yeah, for stories, but not for like nonfiction.
Well, you know, the past that happened and the past that did not differ little from each other.
True. I think we
That's
should have
that's a quote from Blood Meridian.
Okay, I have not reached that one yet, I guess.
It's at the end of the book, which is actually my favorite part.
Yeah, I know about that chapter, like a little bit of what happens in it, but I have not read it. I think we should have started off the stream by asking ourselves the question if we should all eat more spiders to become better writers.
The fuck? No? Why would we?
Because if we were to follow in the ideas of Kishibe Rohan, if we were to try to emulate his process, then we would surely have to do this. And given what kind of a mangaka he is portrayed to be, that would probably not be the worst thing.
No, it's funny that you said that. Do you know about Boogie Pop Phantom?
Yes, I've seen it 2 times, 3 times.
Well, you know the episode where the guy develops the power where he can pull the spiders off of people's chests and eat them?
Yeah.
I saw that when I was a young kid, and then I had no idea what that show was for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
I had to learn about the actual original Boogie Pop independently, and then slowly look back to Boogie Pop Phantom before I finally realized what the fuck that was. It was the weirdest thing because I watched it when I was kind of young, and it was almost traumatizing in its weirdness.
Oh, yes,
where the guy just keeps fondling up women, then suddenly he's gorging himself on spiders, and then he realizes he's eating their memories that he scrapes off of their breasts. The weirdest fucking thing.
It is a pretty good episode. Yeah, even if you have context, kind of, it still does not make much sense. It's a pretty episodic anime in general. I rewatched it not too long ago, and I thought it actually had more interconnectedness than it actually had. So it kind of dropped a little, in my opinion, in terms of my rating for it, but I still like it in terms of its style and yeah, its tone and atmosphere, because it reminds me quite a lot of Serial Experiments Lane, and not many shows manage to get that type of atmosphere and tone down. And Boogie Pop is probably the closest. Boogie Pop Phantom, at least.
Isn't it weird how episodic stories are horrible and larger connecting narratives are the only thing that matter?
Do you believe that? I mean, I would mostly agree, but I think that's subjective. I mean, we had this in a tiny discussion on the Konosuba stream where I just said that I liked episodic stuff less, and RA said that he likes episodic stuff. So I guess it's a matter of taste.
It is a matter of taste. In the Western anime fandom, I think it's a little different because if you are fine with purely episodic stories, there's plenty of stuff on TV, or at least there was until relatively recently,
There was in the earlier days, yeah.
where the rise of anime is probably a major factor in Western animation developing more consistent narratives and overarching themes.
Might be.
So there's kind of a back and forth there. But yeah, overarching stories and really big narratives are what's good, and that's why Sanderson is the best author of all time. You win.
I'm not saying he's the best.
We didn't even need Thupa. We nailed it.
Super would probably have some other stuff to add, especially since he has read I don't know how many Sanderson books, but at least the Stormlight archives.
I think he's caught up with Stormlight, which being caught up with Stormlight right now puts you well over 1 million words.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's caught up. He's read at least to Oathbreaker or Oathbringer, whatever the fuck it is. He's read through Dalinar's book, which I believe is the third one.
That should be Oathbringer. I think bottom left on your screen is where we have 4 books.
Damn, look at that.
Yeah, I have
how convenient that is.
I have that box set on the right below that.
Oh.
The first 3 books.
No. Oh, that's what, I don't know why they bother making box sets with Sanderson. There's going to be 15 of these things.
Yeah, they're just
Are the boxes just going to get bigger, or is he going to keep releasing them in books of 3?
I think there might be versions of both, I guess.
It's also going to be really inconvenient to buy these things.
Yeah, I also have a book set, a box of the first 3 Wheel of Time books, which also makes little sense given that there are like 15 of them. Is it this one? It looks kind of similar to. I waited, Sanderson. That's not Way of Time.
I
just said Way of Time instead of Wheel of
Time.
Yeah,
I can't find it, but I have the box set for Mistborn. It's one of some of the worst money I ever spent because I read Mistborn 1 and fucking hated it.
I don't know. Maybe in time, when you reread it 10 years from now, maybe you will like it by then.
I don't think it will, because Sanderson is delusional about what's in the book. He keeps saying it's a heist when it just objectively is not a heist. And that was one of the clues I had that maybe something's not totally right with Sanderson's fan base. Because if he says something, they believe it's true when it's just objectively not. I want to take Mistborn, hold it in front of them, hold a description of every plot event in front of them and say, okay, you're going to take your finger and you're going to point to the part in the story where a heist happens. And we're going to clarify this because they go around saying, oh, it's a supernatural heist because Sanderson in his lectures says Mistborn is a supernatural heist. But a heist is a tightly constructed plan where a bunch of people get together to steal something. And that objectively does not happen in Mistborn. In the first couple chapters, they talk about, and I mean the Final Empire, the worst one. Even this book, even this copy of the book says Mistborn and not the Final Empire. Just he named the books wrong. That's another thing he did. But in the beginning of the book, they act like there's going to be a heist. Then it just never happens. And the conflict is concluded through other means. But then Sanderson gets on stage and says, I wrote a heist book called Mistborn, and he fucking didn't. And it drives me insane.
Did you read the whole book? I have not read it, so
I got to the last 40 pages and then I wanted to throw it out my window and I gave up. I just looked it up on YouTube.
Okay.
It was so bad.
Okay. Yeah, just what I thought was going to happen, that the heist happens at the very end or something. But yeah, I don't know. I've not read it, can't say.
It ends with not four-dimensional. It ends with four-dimensional chess fuckery, where it honestly feels like Sanderson got 95% of the way through the book, gave the plot outline to a small child, and said, "Tell me how this ends."
I mean, I've heard some people kind of complaining about something like that, but I will have to see for myself.
Yeah, that's fine. I understand with Stormlight though. This is my whole thing with Sanderson. First thing I read of his was Mistborn, and it started kind of okay, maybe aimed towards someone younger than me, but kind of okay. Then it kept going, and the longer it went, the angrier I got until eventually I was just fed up with the whole book, and I bought 3 of them, so I don't know what to do with them. I really need to just wait until a child is near me and just give it to them and say, "Read this," so I don't have to, and then walk away.
Yeah, you could probably just leave them out in the open somewhere and hope that someone picks them up if you really don't want to have them.
Yeah, we have one of those little library things near me where
Mhm.
people just leave books in a thing. I should just write free book on it. I don't want it. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, good for them. When I read, I love how we're talking about Sanderson when we're trying not to talk about Sanderson.
We are way past that.
It's fine. No, we'll have an actual debate with Thupa because I'm going to scream at him and belittle him for his bad taste and his insatiable tolerance for massive amounts of words and low density plots because holy shit, can Thupa sit through anything?
I used to be able to do that. I am not anymore.
Thupa was the first relationship I had where this became an aspect of it. An anime or a movie would come up, and then he would just randomly say, "Hey, want to watch it?"
Yeah.
Where watching a 13 episode anime in one sitting spontaneously is not that big a deal for Thupa.
Yeah. I think the most that I've binged in terms of anime episodes in a single day was like 11 episodes.
Yeah, that's still a lot. I've
Yeah,
done
I've
that,
only
but that's still a lot.
yeah, I've only done it like twice or thrice.
The most out of control my consumption ever got was probably around that level, and it was when I was watching Hunter x Hunter for the first time.
I watched that for not not too long ago. I had read the manga before that, but the anime I like quite a bit more. They
I
did a really,
only
really
read
good
the
job.
anime. Or
Yeah.
okay. I watched the anime. I did read up to Dark Continent where it was a few years ago,
Yeah.
but then I learned how screwed that situation was, and I'm not touching it until they hit a stop point. Once they get to the Dark Continent, I'll read that arc again, but trying to watch it as it comes out is a nightmare, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm caught up with the manga. Um, uh,
Oh,
yeah, but they did a really good job with the anime to like make it work. It's probably one of the, well, I'm not sure if I could say one of the best adaptations for manga, but it improves on the manga with the exception of the very first chapters, which kind of cut out some of the stuff that's in like the first chapter, which is a bit
I
strange.
would go there. I would say it's one of the best anime and best adaptations.
I mean, for me personally, it's not one of the best anime or stories, but it is. It has some extremely good stuff in it.
I love Hunter x Hunter. Tagashi's one of the few creators where I would look at them as an aspirational figure. I would actually want to be more like him in my own things that I make.
I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, I can understand that.
I don't know if I objectively could look at the scant things I have made and see Tagashi's influence in it, but at least consciously, I like to think of him as an influence.
Oh man, speaking of influences, I just rewatched Ava and End of Ava with my father actually, which was funny. Um, and I just with End of Ava, which I watched yesterday, I just realized how much subconscious influence from that movie is actually in my own novel. And I thought, shit, this keeps happening that I rewatch or reread something and I see some stuff that I kind of subconsciously kind of copied. And I don't like that. I don't like that that's happening.
That's fine. Eva is so specific in what it is. It's hard to be influenced by Evangelion without just copying it on some level.
I did not do it intentionally, but the the scene where Ritsuko confronts Gendo at pretty much close to the end of Evangelion, where she gets shot and she says the line liar. Yeah, maybe you remember this very similar scene in my book.
Yes. Now that you say it. Yeah, books are horrible. Why do people write them?
Books are not horrible. Books
Okay,
are,
books are amazing.
yes,
Writing books is horrible.
that's true for the most part.
It's the hardest thing in the world and no one appreciates it.
Not true, but it is hard, and some people appreciate it if they get to read it.
Listen, you have to, if you want to sell an idea, you have to speak about it in the superlative sense only. I learned that from Charles Dickens.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I've not read a single Dickens book.
I think Dickens doesn't hold up, really. I understand that he was a titan in his time, and there's a reason that he's so well remembered. But I think A Christmas Carol is actually the one book by him that's going to last a very long time because it's just so archetypal and it fills such a tight cultural niche.
Yeah,
I did
okay,
read A Tale of Two Cities. It was good. You know, Sidney
Okay.
Carton was a really good character. The sad man who goes on an adventure at the end to save the gentleman who cucked him
I have no idea what
from the French Revolution.
I have no idea what that story actually is about.
The first parts I have not read it in a very long time. The first parts are a high concept romance about a man who was imprisoned until he went insane during the French political upheaval. He gets out. I think he was in the Bastille. He gets out, and his daughter gets with a young French gentleman, and they carry on for a while. But then the situation in France gets worse and worse and worse. And then the latter sections of the book are people trying to escape the conflict and not get executed for being nobles.
So it's set in France.
It's set in France and England because they go back and forth.
It makes sense with the two cities that one is in each country.
A key plot point is that they're killing expats. They're killing everyone who left during the revolution. And one of the main characters left saying, I had no way to make money. My noble lady I married, she lived in England. I went there to live with her family. And then he goes back to France and they're going to kill him. It's what happens. But we don't need to summarize The Tale of Two Cities. That's the last thing that people would want when they came here. It does have some good speeches, much like Blood Meridian. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like anything about Blood Meridian?
Well, the judge is a very interesting figure, even if he is not that present, especially in like the first third or so. I don't know if his presence increases past the halfway point because I've not read much further than that. But yeah, the story that's that gets told by the ex-priest to the kid, which how the judge came to join the group. Like that whole chapter is probably so far the best chapter in the book. But what kind of irks me is that it's a retelling. It's not something that happens in the present, which I thought it would be. So, but yeah, it's still a pretty good chapter.
Judge Holden does become more prominent as the book goes along.
That's good.
One of the biggest problems with Blood Meridian is that the judge shows up in the first chapter. He's very, very funny and interesting when you briefly see him. Then he disappears for a while until Glanton comes up. I've said it before, Blood Meridian doesn't really begin until you meet Glanton. That's when it really takes off. The early stuff is not bad. It has good moments, but Blood Meridian doesn't become what Blood Meridian is until the Glanton gang shows up and the kid joins them.
Yeah, but you could have kind of cut out 3 of the first 5 chapters or so. Or could have condensed them at least.
Yeah, that's maybe true. And I will say, even once he's a proactive part of the plot, Judge Holden does not show up that much. Blood Meridian has a really big cast for how sparse the action is. So there are a lot of characters that only get to do 1 or 2 things throughout the entire book. The judge definitely does show up more, and he is the driving force of the last couple chapters, which I really, really, really like. The last chapter of Blood Meridian, along with them making gunpowder, which is what you just said, those might be 2 of my favorite chapters in fiction.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, people tell stories about the final chapter. So yeah, there's that.
People fixate on the wrong things with Blood Meridian, I think. On the off chance that you people don't know, anyone watching, Blood Meridian is the famous epic by Cormac McCarthy about scalp hunters in the American Southwest. That as it goes along, it gets more spiritual and surreal, and by the end, you don't really know what's happening. 100% of the people listening to this will have known about Wendigoon's video that blew up, where he summarizes the entire plot. It was a pretty good video. A lot of people are accusing it of being stealth advertising because they just announced the movie as well. But Blood Meridian, people I think fixate on the wrong things. They're right to fixate on Judge Holden because Judge Holden is one of the greatest characters of all time. He is the coolest, most terrifying antagonist. Not ever, but he's easily in the top 5 for me. He's fucking awesome to read about. But they always fixate on the wrong things. You know the judge's speech on war, right?
I know about it, but I have not gotten to that point yet.
Okay, people love to talk about it because it's the most memeable speech that Judge Holden gives, where he's talking about the war is the essence of reality and conflict is what drives meaning and all that. But his speech at the end, it's on YouTube, called The Judge's Final Sermon. The speech he gives in the last chapter, which is an epilogue that happens something like 20 years after the main events of the book.
Oh, okay.
That's the part of Blood Meridian that really gets me.
Okay.
People always fixate on the wrong thing. Because in the final speech, the judge is talking about war, he's talking about violence and how it gives people meaning and all that. But he really digs into it, and he starts dropping hints like crazy that he might not be completely natural.
Yeah.
And that's the part of Blood Meridian that drives me up the fucking wall, because I can't decide what is the judge really. Is he human?
I mean, that's part of the fun, I guess, part of the mystery.
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't fixate on Blood Meridian too much because Thupa seems to like it.
Okay.
Kind of. I can't quite tell. He made fun of me for the amount of racial slurs in it, which I take it as a sign he's having fun. But unfortunately, you don't seem to like it all that much.
Not so far. What people need to know about this book, if they want to read it, it's more like reading poetry. Some of the choices, the word choices, the vocabulary is very out there and seems to have very little to do with what's actually happening. If you like that, then good for you, but it's not good for telling a story. For me, this style of writing causes the problem that nothing really sticks in my mind because it's just so ethereal. And then there's the way the characters are handled, if you can even call them that, because there seems to be very little focus on them, which is not exactly true. What I mean by that is that it's not very introspective. And also, I can only read the line "he spat" so often before it becomes really fucking annoying. That must be the most fucking annoying line I've ever read. It comes up so often.
The kid spat, and Toadvine spat, and the judge spoke, and the stars burned in the sky for eternity.
Yeah. Glanton spits the most often, I think. Like in almost every scene he is in, he spits. Jesus. And other characters spit too.
This picture goes so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I don't really like the judge's lips. They creep me out the way they did them. But in general, this picture goes so fucking hard. And this is the end of the book. And it's fucking awesome. It's one of the best scenes of all time.
Okay,
Blood Meridian might have the best last page of any fucking book.
Yeah. I thought it was a scene from when they are at the governor's place or something in Chihuahua or somewhere else.
Well, a few counterpoints to that. One, the judge is naked.
He's always naked.
No, he's not always naked. But the final passage of the book is about the judge dancing naked. Yeah, right there at the bottom of the image. He never sleeps, the judge. He is dancing, dancing. He says that he will never die.
Yeah, iconic line.
Also, if you look up and to the left, there is a deceased bear, which makes it pretty hard to miss what part of the book this happens in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's great, man. I'm telling you. I understand not liking Blood Meridian. The prose is really hard to get through. if you can't tolerate. And I'll even admit there were many parts of the book where I struggled with it. It was hard for me to get through. I was forcing myself to get through it. But the parts of Blood Meridian that do work are the coolest shit ever written. It's amazing.
There you go. I
Yeah,
will see. I
reading
mean, I
Blood
will
Meridian is like giving birth. You know, it's painful in parts, but when you look back on it, you're glad it happened, I assume.
I mean, I will continue it. Just haven't in the last few days.
Yeah, it's fine. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you kind of read past through the descriptions of the environment.
I mean, it has the unfortunate circumstance that most of what happens is the same, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like they're going out, the description of their life on the trail, on the hunt, whatever, and it just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. So you basically read the same stuff 5 different times, just with slightly changed circumstances.
Yeah, they biovac in the space between 2 mountains. I learned what biovacking is. It's when you camp without setting up an actual camp. It's when you just sleep on rocks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my lack
pretty
of
cool.
vocabulary also doesn't make it that that much easier, because he does use some strange words.
Well, part of McCarthy's gimmick is he likes to revive words that are out of fashion.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah. One fun one is infuriate. That's when you learn in the pissing chapter. That's pretty cool. McCarthy doesn't try to be approachable, but
No, not at all.
it's strange because he min-maxes with his language. His prose is often very simple in its sentence structure and very readable. But then about once every 3 paragraphs, he'll throw in a word that you have no fucking clue what it means.
Yeah. Or just a combination of metaphors and analogs. Yeah, he gets kind of crazy with that.
I did see a funny thing with George Martin, where apparently the word mayhaps re-entering the lexicon was almost entirely driven by A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
You can look at its use over time, and it's a flat line since the 1500s, and then it suddenly explodes with the airing of Game of Thrones.
I like mayhaps.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'm learning my own writing. You can just make a word up if you need one.
Yeah, Gene Wolfe did that.
Yeah, I invented the word a spermy the other day because I needed a way to describe a slow winding path of a creek. It's like, oh, it's spermy. Okay, does that exist? I don't know if that's a word. It is now.
It's a description. I also like I think it's also often used in A Song of Ice and Fire. Be that as it may. I also like to use that, not in my own writing, just in thinking about it.
I didn't know he was a popularizer of that.
I don't know if other people like did it more than him, but I kind of got it from there.
Toadvine is so fucking cool.
He's interesting. He's not the kind of character that he is at first presented as, or that you think he is based on how he's presented at, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, because he acts like a total shit kicker, and then he gets the kid out of jail by volunteering them to join up with the gang. A really cool thing about Toadvine is he has cropped ears. They've cut his ears off.
Yep.
Jaws, do you know why they used to cut people's ears off?
For lying or for cheating, being a con man, something like that.
Yep, for being a con man. And that's the funniest thing. As it goes along, Toadvine's one of the few characters that shows little moments of being nicer or more gentle than he originally lets on.
Yeah.
And that's just my interpretation of Toadvine. Is Toadvine's a total bullshitter. Like I think Toadvine is in over his head almost as much as the kid is. But he got into the situation to save his ass from a different bad situation. So he's pretending to be this violent maniac murderer, which to some extent he has to actually be to fit in with the gang. But I think Toadvine's a bullshitter. I think he really doesn't like killing the Indians, but he's pretending because that's how he lives. He's a liar. He just pretends to be things he isn't.
I mean, he does burn down the hotel in the first chapter.
Yeah. No, he's a rough guy, but compared to Glanton and the Judge.
Yeah. I mean, can't measure up to that.
When you have the tiniest bit of sentimentality, compare the Judge Holden, you look like Anne Frank. The Judge is so fucking nuts, man. I could spend years thinking about him, and I probably will.
Yeah. He will haunt your dreams for all eternity.
That's actually really prescient that you said that. Do you know why?
Because you dreamt of the judge.
Nope. Oh, okay. I'll just let you get to it. See, that's motivation to keep going. Yeah. Can't talk about Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian, it's hard to read Cormac McCarthy because when you read it, unless you're Jaws, unless you're someone that doesn't appreciate the artistry of the Southern Gothic gentleman, when you read Blood Meridian, it's amazing, but you don't know what to do with it. Because you can't really be inspired by McCarthy without just ripping him off.
I mean, you could try to like emulate his style, but not his substance, basically, what he's trying to say. I mean, you could try to use the same style to tell something else, but yeah, I don't think you could try to. I mean, I don't think you would succeed in telling the same stuff that he tries to tell.
I believe that you could like McCarthy's sentiment almost more than his prose, because he uses paratactic language where he chains things together with "and" over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Since he's the only one who does that, if you're the second person to do that, everyone's going to know that you're just ripping off McCarthy.
Yeah, I think I was thinking more about his strange, ethereal quality.
Oh, yeah, that too. It's really hard. I feel like Cormac McCarthy is on the cutting edge of literature.
I mean, you remember the Better Than Food book reviews channel, and
I sure did.
yeah, the host would agree with you. I think he really likes Cormac McCarthy.
I agree with that too. I need to get more into McCarthy. I bought all the Pretty Horses the other day just because it was cheap and I found it at the used bookstore. I kind of want to read Child of God. Everyone says Suttree is the real McCarthy, where Blood Meridian is, his big pop hit, but Suttree is where he really shines and you get to see his sense of humor.
I mean, the guy from the review channel, he reviewed the two most recent books when they came out, but because it has not been long since, like, The Passenger, and I forgot what the other one was called.
Stella Maris.
Yeah, something like that. They're somewhat connected from what I know. But yeah, he reviewed both of them, and I watched both of his reviews on them, and he liked them.
Yeah, it's cool.
I mean, he called McCarthy the best living writer.
I don't have a very broad knowledge. It would be inappropriate for me to make that claim, but it's definitely true. Funny example about the influence thing. Joe Abercrombie of, the First Law fame, he claims to be inspired by McCarthy and cites him as an influence.
Okay.
I don't see that anywhere in his writing at all. I don't know how. I think he just likes reading Cormac McCarthy and it makes him enthusiastic for writing books.
Yeah, I've only read The Blade itself, and yeah, I cannot exactly say that I have any McCarthy overlap.
The only thing I can think of, I have not read this yet, but he called the standalone sequel to the First Law trilogy Red Country, and the alternative title for Blood Meridian is The Evening Redness in the West.
Yeah, that's actually translated, that's the German title for the book.
Oh, that's cool. So there's kind of a reference in there. I guess Abercrombie also just likes violence.
Yeah, that's the one thing I that I could put a finger on.
I would not call Abercrombie's violence particularly philosophical or introspective. It's really just a shirtless man with a sword screaming and hitting people. But what?
I mean, the descriptions in Blood Meridian themselves are also not philosophical. It's more like, yeah, the overlaying stuff, not the actual violence.
Okay, I think that the philosophy in Blood Meridian is almost entirely given by the judge. You just have to keep reading. You have to get through the judge's speech. Really, if you just want to just read the judge's parts, that is the best part of Blood Meridian. It's sacrilege to say that, but if you read his speeches, I almost think the rest of Blood Meridian only exists to empower when the judge is talking.
Yeah, I mean, the one part you can pick up pretty much from the very beginning is just the sort of meditation on death. Like, there's so much death in this book. It focuses so much on dying and dead beings.
Yeah, that's true. And again, in the judge's final sermon, he gets more into that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't know. It's kind of hopeless to try to prompt people. It's hard to lure people along with Blood Meridian saying, if you read 10 more examples of the gang sacking and destroying a Mexican village for no reason, you'll eventually get to hear this fat weirdo give a speech in a bar.
I've said this before, but Marlon Brando would have been a really cool judge based on his performance as Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now.
That's cool. I don't know how they're going to make the movie. It's going to be so hard to get it right.
You cannot get it right, basically, because you cannot replicate just the prose, which is most of the book, and it doesn't work.
I think big stretches of the book actually would make a good movie. The Legion of Horribles, where they're being attacked by the Comanche, when they're attacking the villages, when they're partying and acting crazy in the towns. Those sections would actually lend themselves to film pretty well. I just don't know how you're going to have the more spiritual moments or Judge Holden without it coming across as corny film student nonsense.
I think you could do some cool stuff with Holden.
That's how little faith I had in my ability to get up this morning. I set an alarm for an hour after we were supposed to start. There's a spider on his head, or a beetle. That's horrible.
You still haven't seen the movie, right? You really should.
I have not.
I've come to the conclusion not long ago that it replaces Memento as my favorite movie, because I rewatched Memento and I finally found the flaw in it. Or rather, the thing that could have been better.
Memento has... Oh, sorry, go.
That's the cinematography. It's not great in Memento. It's very basic. But that's pretty much the only thing I don't like about it. Well, that could have been better. That's the better way to say it. But I absolutely fucking love that movie and the themes. And yeah.
I need to Photoshop Thupa into here.
Yeah.
I did watch Memento a while ago. I actually watched it in a history class where they tried to...
class.
Yeah, our professor showed it to us in a philosophy of history class, being, okay, this teaches you what history is.
Okay. I get it.
Just remember what's important so that you can take revenge and have meaning.
It's such a cool story.
It's cool. It's very gimmicky, but Memento's a good movie. I'll give you that. What were we talking about? Were we talking about books? Man, books are horrible.
No, they're not. They are.
Oh, right. Writing's horrible.
Exactly. Writing is horrible.
Why do people write?
There was this tweet some time ago. I think you liked it or retweeted it or something. Teach a man how to write and he will never enjoy anything again in his life or something like that.
He really won't.
Yeah. We're making fun of it. It's not that bad, but it can be pretty bad.
It is pretty bad.
I have
writing.
Man.
No, go.
In the last almost 2 years, I think I've only written like 6,500 actual words of writing. Yeah, and I spent the rest on just fucking outlining and not writing, and it kind of fucking annoys me that I've not managed to do more.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, just doing 1.5 years of outlining without stopping, without doing any normal writing, is a fucking nightmare, and I shouldn't have done it this way. And now I'm burned out, and I have to wait. And every time I get some creative juice back, I sit down and then write that stuff. which is more outline in this case, and then I'm drained for another week, and then I repeat the repeat the fucking thing. It's annoying because it probably would make more sense if I just wait until I'm just fully, completely back. But I don't want to waste the small moments where I do get ideas and find out how to solve some problems that I'm having. Because if I would just wait, I might just forget it. So I have to write the shit down when I get it. But that, yeah, gets in the way of recovering.
I think the big secret with outlines, and this is what people don't know, you should write an outline, but you should write it after you finish the book.
For the second draft, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
not
it's
joking.
honestly, it's not a bad idea, but it depends on what it is you want to write. Because if you have absolutely no idea what you're going to write, without an outline beforehand, then you might really end up with something where you have to throw out like 80% of it or something at the end. Probably you will get an idea of what you're wanting to write while you're writing the whole thing, but you will be left with a lot of stuff that probably won't make it in.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
Where I have the basic events of everything written out, because last year I wrote over 100,000 words of
This was
just racing around. Well, they're not good words.
Yeah,
racing around, vomit drafting, having ideas, just doing stuff. Then I realized, okay, I need to just stop because I'm far past the point where this makes sense or this is all going to be in one book. Then I slowed down and I started to write a second draft, and I sent the first chapter of the second draft to a bunch of people, and the feedback was not encouraging.
Of the second draft?
Yes.
Wait, did I get the first draft one or the second draft?
No, you got the second draft. No one will ever see a word of the first draft.
Okay.
Because it was just me writing. It was really just glorified notes almost. It was one of those where it was not readable prose where you would actually share it with other people.
Okay.
It was just getting events down and figuring out what happened.
Sounds like an outline.
Yeah, it basically, hey, that doesn't count. An outline is when you write with little numbers and symbols at the beginning.
Not necessarily.
Yes. Also, an outline, you know what you're writing before you write it. I was just writing. I was just believing in myself and channeling divine wisdom.
Yeah. I have like 110,000 words of outline, basically combined with character writing, which is twice as much as my other actually quote unquote finished novel is long. And yeah, I have very little to show for that massive amount of outline. Yeah, I wrote like 6,000 words of the other story, like one chapter, which is the first chapter, which is kind of okay, and two chapters that are not really chapters and that are kind of shit. And then I stopped.
Yeah, no, it's great how you have so little to show after years of work. That's just how it goes, I think.
Okay, but I was stupid, you know. I finished my one little story, which is really fucking short, that it's only hardly even falls in the category of novel and not novella. And then I get the funny idea that, oh, hey, I want to write about the fucking Sengoku period. And I read history books and stuff like that. And I come up with this super fucking long and hyper detailed and hyper close to the historic stuff story. And I should not have had that idea. I should have picked something a lot less ambitious and far smaller. And it's not like I didn't have other ideas. I have other ideas for much smaller novels. And the Sengoku stuff was just what I wanted to write, which I still want to write this fucking story because no one in the West has done it. There's so little stuff about it in terms of fiction. I mean, there are like maybe 3 or 4 Japanese books on the topic. It's an untapped potential.
It's weird how there's 15 anime about Sengoku,
but
it's always some high concept thing, like he turns into a dog.
Sengoku period, like the time frame. But the problem with the animes and manga is they often just put some fantasy bullshit in it, or they are not close to the facts or something. Actually, the one anime and manga that is really close is Yogemono, but it has a very different focus from what I want to focus on. But if someone were interested in getting a very close to the historic facts story about the time period, watch Hyogemono. Although that's not a full adaptation of the manga. I think the manga is still going, and the focus of Hyogemono is actually art and philosophy of art and how that drives the whole fucking thing. It's a really interesting topic, but the anime is not for everyone.
Wait, how do you spell this?
Fuck. Let me look it up. How to spell
Okay,
it.
it's not a big deal.
Hyo. It's definitely how it starts. The Hyouge and then mono.
Yay! Okay, figured it out.
Yeah, it's that.
Okay, cool.
As you see, aesthetics and materialism. Yeah, that's what Hyogemono is about.
Okay, that sounds cool. Yeah,
it's very strange, but has some really good stuff in it.
Yeah, writing's great because I went back to writing after my glorious career as an Anituber that went so well and was so spiritually fulfilling for so long. But then I went back to writing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start writing books now. And my first project was absurdly ambitious in a way that just by living my actual life, I aged out of the state of mind where it would have been a good idea by the time that I was working on it.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
And I just had to set it aside. Yeah, it happens. It's the danger of writing about yourself. Also, it makes you an egoistic shithead. Then I started the fiction book that I'm working on, and I often have moments of horror where I realize, just based on the pace at which I started this, it's probably going to take like 4 books to actually write this story. Relatively small books, but still.
Yeah.
And then I realized at the pace I'm writing, did I just dedicate my entire 30s to writing this one book series?
I mean, it depends on how long you take, but
it's probably not even going to be that good.
If you take a year per book, then it's only 4 years.
There's no way it's taking a year per book. It might take, maybe I'll get faster after this first one. It feels like this first one, by the time it's all said and done, it will have taken me around 2 years to do it.
No.
Because I started it winter before the winter that just happened.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird how your first attempt at a book, you go through it, and then as you reach the end, you start to realize, oh, I'm just now beginning to understand the basics of what would have allowed me to write a book in the first place.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much true.
Yeah.
I wonder how much one can actually improve on one's writing process after having written something. I don't know how much benefit one gets out of it.
I don't know. I assume you get better. There are plenty of people that wrote for a long time before they wrote anything decent. I mean, Sanderson is one of them. Sanderson struggled in obscurity, and people didn't hate his writing, but I don't think they thought it was all that great for quite a while until he got better.
Yeah, there's the question of improvement of the actual style and of the process of writing. I think the style obviously can be improved, but can the process really be made more efficient? That's the question.
Oh, are you talking about speed?
Speed and efficiency, yeah.
I don't know. Actually, one of Sanderson's lectures, I heard him say that over the first several years, he was consistently getting faster at writing. Then he maxed out, and he was the same speed for like the next 15.
Yeah, okay, but his speed is insane, so yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it is. I find myself, oh my God.
Hmm?
David Fossard said, last time I was on this channel was the Bone Druid video. What happened? Your
Oh
second
boy.
attempt is the real first attempt every time. God damn it, you're right, David Fossard. You make such a good point. Can you speak from experience on this?
Oh
Did
God,
you? Oh God.
when was the Bond video? That was quite a while ago.
Oh fuck, it was like 2 years ago. It was the last one I ever made.
Oh, actually, okay. It was a good
I
video.
made it after I turned, like it's a fucking age. After I hit 1,000 subscribers, it was around the time certain events happened that made me question the logic of being on YouTube. Also, I got into a small fight with the people I was living with, where I had left the house to talk to some people and potentially expose myself to COVID. So in a huff, I stormed off to the Olympic Peninsula and I hung out there for like a week. And while I was there, I filmed the natural environment around me and I answered questions
Yeah, I
about
remember that.
yeah, that's why I was there on the Olympic Peninsula. Then I came back and that was really the beginning of the end. It was ironic that I did 1,000 subscribers special
Yeah.
right before my will to be on YouTube completely collapsed.
Yeah, that was kind of ironic.
It was, but that's how life goes. David Foster says,
Yes.
yes, draw entire comic, scrap entire comic, take page one, add new pages instead. I feel like you're just making stuff up right now, David Foster. You don't know what you're talking about. Who are you? Look at your profile picture. You obviously don't have insider information into
Oh,
this.
yeah, by the way, we should mention that Michi's first chapter is out, and you should all read it. It's good, and the art is even better than good. Have you read
Yeah,
it, Green? Already?
I have.
Yeah,
I got
I
an
have too.
insider peek a few days before it launched.
Okay, I only read it just yesterday.
Yes, it was very cool. You know, it's a big moment for Michi. He's been trying to do this for a while.
Yep.
You know, he finally got it out there. He feels good about the second chapter taking less time and going smoother. If only you knew. Yeah, if only I did know.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really should do a stream talking to Michi about the pains of drawing a comic.
Yep.
Which would be interesting for comparison because it's so easy compared to writing a book.
Oh man, I can't even imagine like how much more annoying it must be to create a comic than it is to just write.
I don't know if we're trying to maintain the illusion that there's a degree of separation here because certain people use their Christian names on YouTube like fucking idiots, like fucking casual civilians that don't understand the dangers of exposing yourself to normal human to the mass that exists on the internet. Monsters walk among us.
Still human, but yeah, monstrous.
Oh, Ben Saint already has Michi booked for a comic making podcast.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
God fucking damn it! Already attacked me.
Fame already spreading.
You know,
But
it
yeah,
was a battle between Michi's two fathers, and I lost apparently. Yeah, no, it's cool. It is nice that Michi is apparently going to be on Ben's new podcast where Jaws, did you hear that Ben is rebranding the PCP as the perfect comic party?
No, I saw he uploaded some video about speaking about the PCP, or rather what probably would become of the PCP, but I have not listened to much of it. So no, I
Cool. Oh, and David Foster says no one else online is in Portugal. They'll never find me. One, I have been in Portugal. I saw you in Portugal, so that's at least one crazy fuck who knows where you live. And two, Ethan Ralph beats people up in Portugal all the time, or I guess he gets beaten up by people in Portugal. The most dangerous lol cow of all time, the greatest predator on the internet, Ethan Ralph. Live in fear, Michi. Oh, also chapter 1 is already 1/4 done. Lol. Yeah, I was thinking. Oh, chapter 2. It's like I fucking hope it's 1/4 done. You just shared it with the entire world. Yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
Yep. But Michi's right. You do something and then you learn how to do it from doing it, and then it's never as good as you want it to be, and then you try
Yeah.
again.
And again, and again, and again.
I keep fantasizing about all the other books I want to start, but
Yes.
I have to finish this huge thing that I started first.
Yes, that's another one of those things.
Yeah.
Of ideas for other books that you cannot work on because you have to finish whatever it is you're writing.
And Michi, yes, I am serious about the David Ralph, the Ethan Ralph thing. Yeah, Ethan Ralph, for some reason, he likes to go to Portugal. He gets beaten up. I don't think he's allowed. I don't know if he's allowed there anymore because he goes to jail every time he goes there. But there was a video last year of him getting his ass kicked on the streets of Portugal. I don't even know what happened to Ethan Ralph. I don't know much about him.
I don't even
Not
want to know.
not too long ago. He's an internet streamer who is known more for his erratic behavior than anything else. He has a tendency to get in fights with people. Uh,
I
I don't know him.
only tangentially know about him from the former Digi stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have no interest in it.
Yep, that's a healthy attitude to have.
Mm.
Michi, I mean, at least for comics, I can't think of a more effective training method than drawing a comic. God damn it. Michi should be here. And I
Yep.
guess he is here. We just don't have to hear his voice.
But yeah, he should be on this. Or on
Yeah, he
a
should.
future
No, he's too good now. He's rising up in the world. He's on the perfect comic party. He's publishing his first chapter. He's selling copies. He's ascendant. He's moving up to the next level, like the end of Pyre.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Pyre, Hades 2,
Oh yeah, they're coming out with Hades too.
and I don't know when. And I think my computer can't handle it at the moment.
I don't know that I even want to play Hades 2 because I feel like Hades 1 probably did everything they can do. I'm sure it'll be a good game. I'm just
I
not
mean,
sure I'm going to care.
yeah, it's not a direct sequel, but similar stuff. Yeah, similar stuff, but different story, different characters, and yeah, some different gods. Apollo is in it this time, I guess.
Yeah, I'm worried they're going to do a reskin. It'd be funny if they brought Hercules in as a joke because that was the joke the whole last time.
Yeah.
They kept
Well,
saying, "Where's Hercules? Is Hercules going to show up?" And Zeus was just like, "No, he's not fucking going to show up." Or no, Hades did.
It's not going to be Theseus this time. It's going to be Perseus.
Oh.
As
One of the best. Oh, that's cool. One of the best lines in Hades was actually when they brought up Hercules, and Hades basically screamed, "No, Hercules isn't here. Hercules is a total piece of fucking shit. If the world made sense, he would be in fucking Tartarus with the rest of the heathens, but Greek mythology is a bullshit, amoral shit show, so he's in heaven just because he was tough."
I mean,
I'm reading a little more into that.
Yeah,
and I have to take a second. You should talk for a few minutes.
To be fair on the Hercules stuff, I don't know if you know the myth in any great detail, but from what I remember, pretty much, I'm not sure if it's the actual end of his life, but shortly before that, because of some bullshit he basically gets in a situation where he puts on a shirt that's basically poison to make him crazy, and that's what makes him kill his wife and his children, if I remember correctly. So it's technically not exactly his fault, other than that he pissed someone off, although I forgot what exactly that was about. So that's for Greek mythology. Yeah, great. Yeah, me carrying the stream alone is going to be a very awkward situation. I'm not good at this. Yeah, so great. I'm fumbling about. I'm not even seeing chat or anything, so I can't even take that as a crutch. I could talk about Hyogomono since it's on the screen. Okay, let's talk about Hyogomono and maybe Sengoku Jidai until Green comes back from whatever he's doing. So first off, the Sengoku Jidai was the historical period in Japan from somewhere early 1500 to about 1568, a little bit later than that, and is pretty much the period of the fighting, the warring states, although that's basically the Chinese term for it, which is also used in Chinese history. About Japan basically being in a perpetual state of small civil wars between the different daimyos, the holders of their provinces, that basically you could do whatever they wanted at this point because the shogun had no real power anymore. It had lost his power over the centuries, and most of all because of another recent big civil war that happened shortly before that, which kind of curbed his power to do pretty much anything. So, and Hyogomone is set in this era, but very much at the end, basically. Technically, one could say it's set right after the Sengoku Jidai. Hello, Green. Sounds like we are back.
What? No, I'm not. How would you know that?
Yeah, I heard some mic rustling. Did you hear anything of what I just said?
No, I did not. How are you doing?
I was pretty awkward in getting the stream to run with me talking, so I was just talking about Sengoku Jidai.
Okay, and good job.
I did not get very far because.
Okay. And Dave said, or yep, this person who may or may not be Michi said, I watched the vid. He got stomped 200 meters from my university. Damn, was Michi the one who beat him up? That's a fascinating question. He is the dragon reborn from Wheel of Time. I'm the only viewer, so that's cool. Yeah, it is cool. Oh, fuck, 2 people are here. Am I one of them? I don't know if it counts the person doing the stream.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, if you are in, yeah, okay, it might actually do. I think it does on Twitch.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you know, it's what did I say the other time? The hardest viewer is your first viewer, which in this case is Michi. So the hard part's over. It's all uphill from here.
Yeah, I was just rambling about history for 2 minutes or something.
Yeah. Also, where it's early in the morning, so only the Europeans are up.
Yeah, but do they know you? Do they know this?
I actually don't know. Are you guys talking through Zoom? Yes, I'm going to try to figure out OBS and other options later, but at the moment I'm talking through Zoom. Zoom has built-in streaming stuff. We already had Zoom, so we're talking through Zoom for the moment.
It's always worked well so far.
Yeah. I like that Zoom is reliable and it simplifies things. You know, it saves a lot of heartache compared to fucking you know, trying to jury rig 5 different pieces of free software together.
No.
But it's all good. We were talking about books. What are we even talking about? We're talking about how creativity is hard. Yeah. We're talking about Michi. We should talk about how we're secretly jealous that we can't do comics because we're not good at drawing.
Yeah, that's 100% true for me, because I honestly think that if you can both write and draw exactly the way you want to draw, then comics are the best medium to portray what's in your head. If you want to tell a story and show a story exactly in the way that you have it in your head, then writing and drawing a comic is the best possible medium for it.
Yeah, that's just true.
And the great thing about writing, and mostly about writing, but also about drawing comics, is it is comparatively cheap compared to what you can achieve with it. Like if you were to try to make a movie with a massive battle scene, it would cost a ton of money. You would need a ton of equipment and the time and people and whatever. And in writing, you can just simply write it. And drawing is a little bit more complicated. You have to draw it and you need the material to draw it, but it's still comparatively cheap.
Do you actually want in the call, Mr. I mute the fucking server because I'm too, you know, I mute every server I'm in on Discord? You can join if you want. We really are just talking. because Thupa was going to be here, so we're just talking about whatever as a prelude to his arrival. We're the John the Baptist of this thing. You know what? I'm gonna. Where's this? Where's this god thing? Copy invite link. Okay. I'm going to. Oh yeah, my computer crashed yesterday, so everything has to reload. Damn. We should tell a funny joke.
About computers crashing?
Oh hey. Oh. Okay. Michi actually offered to join in.
Yeah, you should get on.
There you go, Michi. I didn't have Discord open. My computer turned into a white void yesterday.
That does not sound good.
I minimized my Word and it was just white. I couldn't access anything. It was just broken. I turned it on again. And it was fine.
Okay. Yeah, it still sounds somewhat worrisome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. It is for real. I'm
Real
slightly distracted. Yeah, you know, Bruce showed up one time. He lives in Europe. I think I do have several people in Europe, but it does slant heavily American.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You probably have like in the past checked the distribution of your viewers, where they're from.
Yeah, I have. I mean, that's always how it goes with anything online in the modern world. It's like 2/3 of your people are American and then like 1/3 are European.
I had this
0% from the rest of the earth.
Yeah, I had this very short period of time where I did some stuff on YouTube. I did some comparisons for the manga and anime for Tokyo Ghoul, and it was funny because most people, I mean, you can check the watch time of people. Most people, they did not finish the videos. They watched like, I don't know, 30 seconds of it before they clicked off. But there was one guy, I think from India, who seems to have watched this video like 3 times, and he was like 10 times more watch time than anyone else. It was really funny.
Yeah, that's always how it goes. I mean, not having one guy from India that watches over and over and over again, but YouTube is kind of bullshit with how it does views, because it's always a majority of people are just clicking on and off.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a minority of people are watching consistently. Just how it goes. Michi said he was going to join. I don't know what his problem is.
He will tell us when he gets on. The Inquisition stands ready to hear his plea.
You try to get Michi to schedule a time to come on. He doesn't want to talk to you, but then you start talking in his vicinity and he shows up. Life really is a mystery.
It certainly is. Lots of people tried to explain it and no one can.
You know, Judge Holden does a pretty good job.
He has a theory about it. No.
That's also part of Blood Meridian. It feels very personal to me.
Personal as in it matches your views, or in a different manner?
To some extent. When I hear Judge Holden give his speeches and the other people, where it's a kind of crazy mashup of spiritualism and Gnosticism, and maybe there's a religious aspect, but it's very embracing of the world as a mysterious, conflict-ridden, chaotic place. I think Michi showed up.
Yeah, trying to connect.
I feel like a lot of us, and I would include myself in that, we can't move on until we fully contend with what Judge Holden is and what he says.
Okay.
Where you can't just ignore him. If you ignore him, you're just bullshitting yourself. You have to figure out what he's about and find a way to actually answer him, and you have to have an answer to the questions he puts forward.
Yeah, at least for yourself. Like, yeah, come to a conclusion that for yourself at least feels complete enough to deal with the questions he brings up. Michi disappeared again. I was about to say something, but what was it?
Michi's probably fucking with his microphone.
Possible. Shit. It was connected to Blood Meridian and stuff. All right, yeah, I remember. I've not picked up much on the Gnostic stuff yet. I don't know how prevalent that will become later, but I very much like the tarot card scene. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was weird. I also think Glanton is really underrated as a character in general.
He's kind of strange because he speaks relatively little. He does not do that much, so he's kind of mysterious.
Glanton at the same time, and I am reading into it because he doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, which none of the characters really do. Even Judge Holden is not on. Okay. We'll drop what we're doing. Okay. You'll
What's
have to
going
wait
on?
for us to talk Blood Meridian if you want to know more about Judge Holden because Michi is here.
No.
Yeah.
There he is.
I read all about Judge Holden on the excellent books I've read in 2023 thread. The famous,
wow.
the worldwide famous, the green Twitter thread.
Yeah, I gave it a
right.
10 out of 10, and Thupa,
You
I
did
think-
your first 10.
I think Thupa bought it entirely because of that, because he was just like, okay, why is this a 10 out of 10? I need to
I thought
understand
you were
that.
saying
Okay,
I gave it 10 out of 10, and I think Thupa bought it. Like I tricked him.
yeah. That's every time you.
I think
you
I
want,
tricked him into reading that fucking book.
every time you want Super to get into something, you now have to give whatever it is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's what I always do.
That would actually probably work.
That's
It
how I got Green to watch Unicorns Warriors Eternal.
I have no idea what that is.
It's the new Gendy Tartakovsky show after Samurai Jack and Primal. He's
Okay.
back, baby. And it's an homage to old
okay, wait.
rubber hose cartoons and Tezuka. And it's cool. I dig it.
I see.
It's something
I
I've
had
kind of wanted to do for a while, was do like a comic that kind of harkened back to that too. But, as usual, Tartakovsky just comes out and fucking curb stomps me every time.
You're right,
Every
Michi. You
time.
were about to make a virtuoso comic incorporating elements of Western animation and Tezuka. But goddamn
Well-
Tartakovsky he sandbagged you. You were sitting there with your pen. He
It's
made
okay.
he made a cartoon, which is not a comic. And
hey,
having
hold on.
cartoons look like old cartoons makes perfect fucking sense and doesn't affect your thing at all. But now you can't do it because he beat you.
Well, okay, Tezuka is both things, so it could be either. And I was specifically referring to the like concept art illustrations for old Disney movies and stuff, which are usually better looking than the actual movies. So it's a fair comparison. No, I mean I still did get it kind of in there with my little ghosts kind of look like old rubber hose black and white cartoon characters. So suck on that, Gendy.
Yeah, suck on it, Gendy.
Look at him over there. Just chillaxing.
Yep. I did watch Unicorn Warriors Eternal. I watched what's out. I did not love it like Michi did.
Did
It
you watch
definitely
episode
has-
6 yet?
No, I didn't. Oh, is that when it gets
It's a
good?
pretty cool one. Shut up.
Okay.
You're such a every time I tell a Green something is like, oh man, this thing is great. He like goes into it like expecting I don't know, Blood Meridian or something. and then gets so mad he gives it a 1 out of 10 or something and shits
That's
all
not
over it on
true.
Twitter.
I
Oh,
would
yeah,
give
sure.
I would
Elden
give
Ring
Unicorn Warriors.
sucks, but
Okay, Elden Ring actually does suck, but
Ugh.
I would. That's me. Okay, Michi, the entire Earth agrees with you. Me
Yeah.
and to a lesser degree, Sammy, the owl YouTuber,
I'm
are the
just
only
saying,
people that openly dislike Elden Ring.
he likes Elden Ring.
Yeah, exactly. It's just me against the world. Quit acting like a victim. It's the
No,
world
I-
victimizing me, and
I
you're at
just
the
feel if I had said like, I'm not so sure about this Elden Ring game, and then you'd played it, you would have been like, oh no, it's fucking cool. But because I came in there like, oh man, it's my favorite game ever, you're like, really? Why are you writing Elden Ring sucks?
What?
Garbage.
I'm
Oh,
trying to.
God.
Okay,
Look at all the
fine.
soy jacks.
Look
what
at
you've
all the
unleashed.
the soy jacks. Elden Ring.
Why?
Elden Ring has good aspects. It's just not a good game. I don't like to play it.
It's just a good cartoon.
It's an empty world where nothing matters. I guess if that's what
That's
you're
what you
looking
said
for, it's
about
amazing.
Portugal when you came over. It
That's
made
what
me
I
mad at
said
the
about
time.
Well, if you just like to go around beating people up like Ethan
Yeah.
Ralph,
That's
then
what
Elden
Portugal
Ring's pretty
is.
fucking
Yeah.
great.
It's a PvP
I based my
zone.
comics on Portugal. Yeah, you just go out with your sword equipped and see what happens.
Yeah, it's Elden Ring. I mean, if we can do this now, I don't know why.
No. Hold on. I'm not derailing the
I'm
writing.
not derailing
cast.
this.
I came on here to talk about written works of any kind. The Warriors Eternal still counts, kind of.
Oh yeah, they did have. Well, I assume
I guess
someone
this-
wrote it.
I guess this has George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, this is what he
involved,
did
so-
instead of writing Winds of Winter.
Yeah,
wrote
he
about
handed
the-
me as he handed Miyazaki a like napkin with like the names of all the deities scrolled on it, and then fucked off.
Yeah,
He
something
barrel
like that.
rolled. Yeah, that's him. That he self-inserted.
This is how I learned about Elden Ring, by the way. Fupa sent me a ridiculous series of memes of people saying the loathsome dung eater.
As soon as you saw the loathsome dung eater, you know Thupa's gonna be all over that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
Literally.
the cruel caca gobbler and just all kinds of fucking shit.
Germa kept getting invaded by this dude called Barf Drinker, who was a cool parody of the turd eater over here.
You know, I
Barf
take it back. This
drinker.
is an amazing game. It's the best game ever.
Thanks.
You win. He has a sun on his chest. Is he supposed to be Solaire?
That has been a theory that's been put forward. Not that he's literally Solaire, but that he's kind of supposed to be like a smack in the face for people expecting a Solaire. You know,
Oh, fuck
He's
this game.
I didn't even notice the sun.
The best
he's like-
part of Dark
he's
Souls,
a
and, like the
reverse-
most soul-filled part. He just wanted to find a personal son, and he was all depressed
Yeah,
and sad.
but he's like
and
a
in the
reverse
tunnels
evil
because-
Solaire. Yeah.
because he's trying to adventure in this world that's just full of cruelty and darkness. But he
Did-
stares at the sun and goes, "Ah, if only I could be so grossly incandescent."
It's
Did
a
you know-
reversal. Yeah, sorry. Go on, Jaws.
Yeah, it's a reversal from something good to something that sucks. Go, Jaws.
Did you know that it is possible to save Solaire? It's a
Yeah,
kind
I
of a,
did know. I was actually that was my big break with Dark Souls because I played it when I was depressed because Dark Souls, it was a good game to play when you're depressed.
Yeah.
And then I fucked up and didn't save Solaire, and it's like, oh, okay, well, this was the only good thing in my life right now, so I guess I'll just be sad.
People who play Dark Souls Remastered will never know the actual pain of saving Solaire in the original and having to sit there and consume one by one 30 humanities. Because now you can just in the remaster, you can just click how many humanities to consume. Select 30. Done. Back then, it's like you really feel like you're giving your all to save Solaire as you stand in front of the fucking Daughter of Chaos, crushing humanity after humanity for 10 minutes, just so you can get the stupid fucking. I don't even remember what the fuck it was. Is
the
it
mask?
a ring?
Is it for
A
the
mask,
mask?
yeah, that's it. The light up termite mask.
I didn't even know that you had like a tiny
No,
chance of
it's
dropping
to
it.
open the door. That's it. If you give her 30, she gives you something that lets you
Oh, okay.
open the secret passageway and kill the bugs before they get to Solaire.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the normal way of doing it.
Yeah.
What I saw was someone just going up somewhere at the door or the wall or whatever it was, and just using poison mist through the wall to kill the maggots that way.
Oh,
so you didn't have to
that's-
do that.
If only I'd known that back in the PS3 days. Yeah, the normal way is to just get a shit ton of humanity, spend it all, give it to the Daughter of Chaos. You open the door, you get to the bug, kill them before, and then it's kind of sad because you did save his life, but then he's really depressed because he didn't find any light up bugs. He's just sitting in the corner like, man, this
Yeah.
sucks.
Can't really win, but at least he's alive.
Yeah. It's a win for us.
Yeah, for the player.
And it's a win if you kill Dung Eater by making him eat one of his own what is it? Does he eat one of his own curse beds?
Seed beds.
So seed bed curses or something. You do something to him and paralyze him.
Yeah.
I forget.
I hate this
It
game
was
so much.
complicated.
Shut up, Green.
It's like standing in a white void.
Green,
with
you
just
should go back
darkness
and
in all
play.
directions.
You should go back and play the original Dark Souls now that you've played Elden Ring. And like, of course, it's still an amazing 10 out of 10 game, but there is a lot of like bullshit that you were just like avoiding, and then everything that annoyed you in Elden Ring, you were like fucking just it's just taking and running with. It's
I
like
had not been prepared.
no.
Yeah,
I-
I got
That's
attacked
fair.
by Michi because when I was talking about how Elden Ring was too hard, he said, "Well, how did you beat the Capra demon?" And I said, "Oh, I threw jars over the wall."
Yeah, yeah, this guy. Yeah. I forget. It's like I'm over here fucking fighting against Molina, and this this guy any dungeon he walks into, he gets stomped. And I'm like, how did you beat Dark Souls? Did you actually kill Artorias and Manus? Or are you bullshitting?
I didn't do the I didn't
What?
get very far in the Well, it's the DLC. You don't have to do it.
The most fucking highly regarded DLC of all time. Oh, it's okay.
I didn't
It's
beat
optional.
God,
Who
whatever.
cares about our? You're not even a Dark Souls fan. You're shitting on me.
I never said I was. I just
Yes,
said
you
Dark
did.
Souls is better than Elden Ring. I didn't say I was like a fan of the series.
You.
And Green, did you play the third one?
No,
No.
I went from 1 to which I didn't
Elden
even
Ring.
get all the way through. You know, you see, I went from 1 to 3, or no, to Elden
No.
Ring.
So,
Elden Ring.
I didn't play Bloodborne, I didn't play Sekiro, and apparently going from 1 to Elden Ring is the worst possible path
Yeah.
because
It is. Yeah, I
apparently
agree. Yeah.
if you play all the games,
Not all
you-
of them. You
you-
can skip 2.
whatever. If you go through most of the FromSoft games, by the time you get to Elden Ring, you understand that they've been continuously tweaking the systems to where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like a
that's
commentary
right.
on the ones before it. But if you
Yeah.
just jump into Elden Ring, it feels like stupid fucking bullshit, full of nonsense features and empty worlds, and the
Green,
combat is
you're
dumb.
like fucking Link Awakening in the fucking Breath of the Wild. Like you just came out of the fucking cryo tubes, and then you were like, they handed you the controller, and you were like, the jump button. What the fuck?
This is always the worst thing about FromSoft fans. They act like it's your fault when the games are bad.
They're not bad. It's not bad.
I'm not saying all the games are bad. I'm saying Elden Ring is bad.
Okay, whatever.
And it has good moments. Like if you just like to mindlessly walk around void spaces full that lack meaning.
This
and
is the
context
thing, Green, is that
and,
like
and stab people. It's great.
I don't think it's mindless to to like walk through a gorgeous looking fantasy world that you can just like inhabit, and just seeing all these beautiful landscapes and strolling around. I don't need to constantly be fucking juggling hollows and fucking parrying and shit to be like, you know, to be engaged. It's like that's also part of the game, is walking just with your horse.
It should have been a series of landscape paintings then.
No, why? You can go through them. You can decide at what pace you walk, at which
I'm
angle
trying
you
to
view
have
the
goals, but nothing in the almost nothing
so-
in the
yeah.
surface world matters. So you're just riding your fucking horse.
things. Green, nothing matters in a video game except for the context
Yes,
that you
it
give to it.
does.
Why does it matter?
Games give you goals. That's what the word game means.
The goal is to explore and enjoy the world that you're exploring, is to be like, you know, enchanted and marvel at this feat.
Green.
I can't enjoy the world when there's so little in it. Like Dark
There-
Souls, the
there's
original
loads
Dark
of
Souls,
stuff in it.
the world was smaller, but there were so many things in it that mattered.
There's
There were,
literally
you know,
more things.
No, there's not. Compared to the size of the world and the time you spend in there, Elden Ring is fucking empty.
You need to check underground.
Yeah, I don't think he even went to the fucking Siofra riverbed and shit.
Of course I did. Michi,
Did you see
I got,
some big
I
ants?
got to Malekith, or whatever the fuck his name. I got to when the Beast
What
Guardian
about
guy takes his
Rogue?
robe off, turns into a weird black dog, and starts flying around. I got through the
That's
Shattered
not
Sea,
Siofra
floating
River.
in
That's the
air.
fucking yeah. That's a different place.
Oh wait, no, I got to Siofra
I'm talking
River,
about
but
the
it was for a
underground
different
place.
reason. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I did go to Siofra River in my second playthrough, or partial playthrough because I never beat it. Yeah, I did go through that. But
okay.
there's nothing in the world. There's so few characters that are making decisions or are interesting. There are so few items that really change things that much. There's so little context. There's so few enemies that you actually need to fight.
This is difficult to talk about because I don't know exactly how many NPCs you found or skipped in their various locations. And also, you can run past all the enemies in Dark Souls.
Yeah, you can. Kind of. But like on Dark, I'll say
not
this.
kind of.
If you're actually good at Dark Souls, and especially if you've beaten it multiple times, yes, you can run past a lot of the enemies. But in Dark Souls 1, the layouts of the levels were more tightly constructed. It's very hard to beat the game in Dark Souls 1 unless you actually know where things are and figure them out. So you have a strong incentive to fight many of the enemies just so that you can stabilize the locale so that you can explore it and figure out what you're supposed to do. In Elden Ring, big stretches of the game, there's never a reason to fight an enemy. You can just run past them, grab the glowing objects on the ground, and just keep going.
But I don't know if I consider that a bad thing, really. And I still stand by that, like the quote unquote legacy dungeons like Stormvale are every bit as, if not more complex than most of the stages in Dark Souls.
No, I really don't think so.
I do. They have so many routes through them. They have so many like different areas with different unique enemies in them.
No, it else has a lot of routes through it. The fucking mall down the road from me in downtown. It has a ton of routes through it. They don't matter.
What? Why does it matter when Dark Souls does puts a little door over there and you can go through Undead Burg in 2 different ways, but it doesn't matter when you can go like 6 different ways over the rooftops or under the underground or through the back alleys in Stormvale?
Because
I don't know. I think these are Dark Souls tinted glasses, my friend.
Okay, maybe
it's all fluff. It's all artifice. All games are literally fluff. You're just disguising. You could just have a corridor that you go to right to the boss, but they put a bunch of shit in your way.
Yeah. Okay.
So why does it? You're being like selective with the same criticism. Most of your criticisms of Elden Ring hold true in Dark Souls.
I don't know if that's true.
And when you played Dark Souls, you had spent like years and years watching analysis videos and people play through it and speedruns and all this shit.
No,
come on. You knew about the fucking underground. You knew about the basin underground and Solaire and shit. You have to have had through osmosis.
Yeah, maybe a few little things, but I didn't research Dark Souls before I played it. I only really seen people play it a few times. I did look things up as I found them, but I didn't do exhaustive research on Dark Souls. And Dark Souls did something great where it had a constant sense of progress, a constant sense of hitting hard challenges and beating your head against them until you eventually figured it out and got through. And there was a really intense, euphoric sense of progress when you got through one of the roadblocks. In Elden Ring, there are no roadblocks. It's just a giant multi-lane highway sprawling in every direction. And there's a few very hard battles in it, but they're just arbitrarily hard. They're not usually fun, I think.
I think
and there's not a lot of difficulty. Like getting through the depths in Dark Souls was this really tight, complex challenge. The Gaping Dragon was fucking awesome. Once you beat the Gaping Dragon and finally got through, and it was hard to get to him each time.
Okay.
Until
it's
you
weird
really
that you would select one
out.
of the completely optional areas and bosses, but okay.
For most people, they're going to progress by beating Gaping Dragon.
That's not true.
Okay, unless
you
they
don't even need to
look
beat
up.
him to open the door. You can just go through the depths, not beat the dragon, and just open the doors to Blighttown.
And there's a different way to get to Blighttown as well.
Yeah, and most people choose the key at the start.
Yeah. I think what probably is the thing, the most different thing in Dark Souls compared to Elden Ring is just that there is no teleportation mechanic at the beginning. And I played the unpatched version and I didn't even finish it. So even when you got the Lord Vessel, it only teleported you in a few places. So every time in Dark Souls 1, when you had to get from place to place, you had to play through the level. Or
that is true.
Or if you knew it well
don't
enough,
get to ride in a big
stuff.
Yeah.
But it was always a challenge. It was always, I hated it, by the way, that I had to do this every single time. because it was depending on what area you were in and how strong your character
No,
was,
it's true,
it was
yeah.
really risky to just get from one place to another place. And
It
if
is,
you
yeah.
missed an item, you couldn't just you could try to go back, but it was a much harder thing to do. So
You're
incentivized to basically complete every single section so that you don't miss anything, so you didn't have to go back, basically.
That is true. There's nothing worse than realizing you left something in Blight Town, like
Yeah.
at the bottom, and knowing you have to do the fucking glitchy ass elevator shit.
No, I quit. I quit after I beat Civ, because I have seen people play the entire game, and I was going to go to Four Kings next. But
Yeah.
what I've seen from that area with all the ghosts and shit, I was just not. Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, let's not
Oh,
let's not
no,
do that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I decided to just stop there.
Oh yeah, New Londo is not. I'm okay with it because I just run through because I've beaten Dark Souls about 50 times. But I have a friend who's just like, every time he leaves like New Londo as the last possible thing he does when he's overpowered as shit because he hates those fucking grab ghosts so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done the other parts first, but yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
Dark Souls.
We
was
all
not
agree.
afraid.
Gaping
Dark
Dragon is
Souls-
awesome, okay?
Yeah.
Because he's a
cool.
berserk character, obviously.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dark Souls was not afraid to be frustrating in a way that they actually meant, and they would put it on the player in a way that was serious. Elden Ring streamlines everything, and it refuses to actually be frustrating, but that makes it more frustrating. Because they
What's the
take
matter?
out all the charm and everything that makes the game good.
Oh, come
It's a
on.
matter of
Not
taste.
all the charm.
All the charm. The game
You're
was
acting like
dominant.
this is like fucking Modern Warfare now or some shit. It's like
Comparatively, it is. Why did they let the fandom's worst elements dominate the fucking series? Where
this is
Elden Ring is this hyper
nonsense.
streamlined like combat simulator where they expand the weapons and the spells and all that, but the actual game is just empty. Like the feeling of puzzles, the feeling of progress, the feeling of finding yourself in a complex, confusing situation and having to slowly work your way through it. That's all gone in Elden Ring. It's just a giant empty void where you're riding your fucking horse in circles, picking shit up off the ground. And there's only like 5 fights in the game that actually matter.
In the
I don't
legacy
wanna-
dungeons.
Yeah, I don't want to. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I just want to
Okay,
say
fine.
that just like the massive amount of work that all these guys did to like create all these unique looking, amazing areas with all these
It's a
crazy
shame.
complex routes. You're calling them calling it an empty void.
It is. It's a void of
enough.
game
Enough.
and meaning and intent. Okay,
Enough
fine.
of this heresy.
Go watch the
foolishness.
Hobbit movies, why don't you, Michi?
I'm gonna read Blood Meridian and shit all over it to my followers, and then we'll see. And then we'll see who's the.
Well, you see, Michi, this desert upon which so many have been broken is vast and calls for boldness of heart, but it is ultimately empty. Its very
Look, Green,
nature is stone.
I'm just gonna tell you one thing, okay? Where there's a whip, there is a way.
There's a way. Okay, we can talk about something other than how Elden Ring is a horrible,
please.
horrible game that stomps on my
how
memories
about
of,
Green
of
is
Dark
completely
Souls.
wrong.
Yeah, Green is completely wrong. That's the new topic. Okay, Jaws go.
tell us
only-
another
the
way
only
in
thing
which
that's on
Green
my
was
mind-
wrong.
The only thing that's on my mind right now, because I'm still stuck on the Elden Ring stuff, and so was Michi, did you play Sekiro?
Yeah, of course. I played all of them like 10 times through, except for Dark Souls 2, because I don't like it.
Because I would be very interested in what Green would think of Sekiro.
Man,
compared
I'm
to
I'm not
Elden
gonna
Ring
go
and,
there because Green
Dark
would get
Souls.
stuck. Green would get stuck on the first area for literally 10 months. And then he would blame me because he wasn't writing his book because he was trying to beat the first enemy in Sekiro. There's no way. There's no way this
you're
guy.
not
I know.
wrong.
I know.
This guy
Bruce,
who has never played a hack and slash is ever good. It was hard for me to get to grips through the first playthrough.
It's the hardest of the games of the
Yeah. Now at this point, I'm like, I go into Sekiro for fun to fight. Final phase Ishin is just like a fun rhythm game to me at this point.
It
like
took me
I
On
love
my
doing the
first-
challenge like boss gauntlets for fun.
On my first playthrough, it took me 5.5 hours to beat Ishin, and then on New
Yeah.
Game Plus, it took me like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun though. It's
Yeah.
really a different game than all the others I played for completely different reasons. Bloodborne and the Souls and Demon Souls, I play them all for like that fun, like exploring, going at my own pace, just
I'm
like
still-
relaxing podcast kind of way. Sekiro is
sti-
just like I want to feel my heart beating really fast and just fucking feel like a total badass.
I'm still mad that Bloodborne has no PC port because
Oh,
I
yeah,
really
me
want to
too.
fucking play that.
Oh yeah, I've got a PS4, but yeah, I would love to just be able to just click the icon while I'm over here instead of having to go in a different room, basically.
I know Bruce quit at the Ogre from what I remember.
Green, could you put Sekiro GIFs instead?
I can try. Yeah,
Put
I don't think
Sekiro
I could.
boss GIF or something. Just
I
leave
don't
it looping.
I don't think I could beat Sekiro. I'm just going to admit that. I
Not
watched
with that attitude, champ.
I watched DJ Peach Cobbler talk about Sekiro and Souls games a little bit, which Peach Cobbler is just the last YouTuber. He's fucking great. He's wonderful. We don't need another YouTuber. I don't think we're going to get another good one after him. He's it. He's the final man. I watched him talk about it. He showed a clip of this crazy slashy monster that was just spinning in circles, and he just said, "I don't think I could be faster than this." And I agree. I'm not going
I'm
to.
wondering which one.
Maybe
is that the centipede? Yeah.
No, it was
Because
like
those
a
are really easy,
I
actually.
think it was like a brown hominid with claws or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
Yeah,
called
that's
the
definitely a
centipede.
centipede.
It's
Those are
called the
that's
centipede.
like a joke enemy where they're moving really
Yeah.
fast, but those ones you can literally just spam left trigger and you
Yeah,
kill them
and you-
instantly,
and
then
you
you
will
jump
get
on them.
There's
guy.
like this one. There's like a specific enemy type, the Yaido guy, who is kind of similar, who has this very fast draw attack with his katana,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you also
yeah, I
have
love
to like
that, yeah.
perfect parry it like twice, and
Yeah.
then you beat him. But if you miss, he basically just kills you.
Yeah, those are some of the most frustrating at the start of the game, and then on subsequent plays through, those guys are just like fucking chumps.
I think we all need to play
also,
Getting Over It with
that's-
Bennett Foddy so that
Oh.
I can be the guy good at the hard game for once.
That's exactly. This guy would rather play Bennett Body than Elden Ring.
Oh, I think it was this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys are
Bennett
definitely
Foddy's a good game. It gives you a
Those
sense of
guys
accomplishment when
are
you get up the
definite-
mountain.
are definitely a Soul Calibur. What's he called? Fuck. There's a character in Soul Calibur that looks just like these guys. He's like a
Voldo.
twist. Yeah, Voldo.
Voldo.
These are definitely a Voldo reference. You can't
Voldo,
convince
you
me
say?
otherwise.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
crazy
he's a
dance
weird.
guy.
Yeah, he's a weird like sex pervert, contortionist with
Oh,
spikes all
you're
over his
selling
body and
me on
long
this
claws.
already, Michi.
I used to play Soul Calibur with my cousin and make stupid custom characters.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty okay. I'm not good at any fighting games. The ones I've played most are like Guilty Gear, Xrd, and Soul Calibur, I guess.
That
Oh,
would be
and
a topic
Persona.
for John.
I just suck at fighting games. I've never been in an environment. I feel like the people who are good at them are guys who have like 5 roommates and they all just crash on the couch and beat the shit out of each other on Tekken.
Yeah, and they have a ton of time to go through all the combos and stuff.
Yeah,
I've only played single player on Soul Calibur.
I'm
or
even
it was-
embarrassing at like at Smash Bros. Like, no, not for me. That's for sure.
Speaking of other hard games, I think 2 days ago I tried another run at Faster Than Light, and I did manage to get to the final sector, but I did not even make it to the fucking mothership again.
Oh,
Green, how the fuck do you do it?
I'm curious too. I played it a lot as a teenager, but I fell out of it and I never got very far as a teenager. I had the whole summer of playing it like every day.
Faster Than Light is basically my favorite game. I play it all the time. I think it's easily the game I have the most Steam hours on because I leave it on while I just do other stuff.
That's my Enter the Gungeon is your FTL. That's for sure.
Trying to beat it for the first time, I will say stealth is overpowered and especially fighting fighting the final ship. For me, beating the game is beating the final ship without using stealth. That's the actual challenge for me.
I most of the runs I don't even fucking make it to the last sector. I mean,
No,
the
yeah,
ships,
me neither.
basically the ships that I pretty much only use the one, fuck, I don't know the names of the ship, but the first stealth cruiser, because I don't have the other layouts unlocked, and the ship with the 4 blasters that just has 4 basic blasters, because the firepower is pretty good to get you through like half of the sectors without you having to do anything. But then you still face fucking 3 shield rebel cruisers before you even get to the fucking mothership, and I just get blown to bits.
Well, one thing that okay, go.
I was gonna say, while I play FTL, I always feel like I'm just fucking up, you know?
Yeah.
Like the whole time there's something wrong. Like I'm always like, fuck, now I'm out of money. My engines are fucked. Like every time I do something, it's like, well, I did that, but I've lost like 3 times as much.
Yeah.
And I've never been good at like managing like multiple tiny things. My friends always used to be into like StarCraft and shit, and just like put a little worker here and put this guy fighting here and stuff. I'm like, I just want to be one dude. I'm just one human.
I was never good at that either.
Yeah, and this is much easier because you just have to click here, click there, sure.
And
but still, my brain,
button.
the pause button is very helpful. That's for sure.
I play almost every action I make is just pause.
yeah, exactly. If it didn't have a pause button, I would have never given it the light of day.
I mean, it might have been a better game in some sense, but yeah, I like you can pause it. With
I
FTL,
like turn-based stuff too.
One thing that we need to address is you are supposed to constantly be taking and winning fights as you go along.
That's what the idea I always got to.
Yes.
Whenever it's a pirate, I never go, okay, take my stuff. I always go, avast ye.
Really with FTL, the trick to early on, I don't want to call it a trick, but you need to avoid taking damage as much as possible, because having to heal your ship will deprive you of important weapons when you can finally get them.
Yeah.
So all I can really say is take fights, make sure that you are targeting their weapon systems early and taking as little damage as possible. And
I pretty much
beyond
always
that,
target weapons and shields.
Yeah, and beyond that, it's honestly very hard to know, because if you get to a certain stage without upgraded thrusters or a certain stage without upgraded shields, it would be hard.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, it takes so much investment just to get the second layer of shields, and in the last sector, you still have to deal with ships of enemies who have 3 shields who you can't fucking punch through unless you have like a rocket launcher or a teleportation system. By the way, I fucking hate the Mantis ships. Teleport people on my ships, and
there's a big element of luck to it, where even when I'm playing it, most of my runs are going to end relatively early, because if you get through the first system and it went poorly, you might as well restart, because you're not going to catch up.
For sure, yeah. I love having a little what are they called? Those big golem dudes that don't need air.
Not
I forget their name.
Yeah.
I think it might be
Lanius?
One of them doesn't need to breathe. I love putting those guys in the back and just having them repair everything. So satisfying when there's no oxygen around.
No, it's cool. And they're in the expanded content, so Jaws might not have that.
I've not played with that in a long while, because I think I assume that the non-expanded stuff is easier.
Yeah.
You never know.
And with FTL, it's counterintuitive, but especially early on, thrusters are more valuable than shields.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you can dodge both types with them. They're not as reliable, but they help.
That's what I also figured out eventually.
I feel like every time I play, I just want to. I'm always incentivized to create like a multi-species crew, like a perfect utopian Star Trek crew. So I want to have like one of each kind of alien.
Most of the time, I don't even have money to hire any crew members.
Oh yeah.
I'm so short on money.
Maybe that's what I'm spending all my money on, is getting.
Well, you really shouldn't aliens. You're really not supposed to buy crew unless you really need them. If you buy the type that give you energy, they can actually be worth purchasing. Most of the time, it's better to just get crew through incidents because you don't need crew. Unless you're actually fucking up, extra crew are nice to have, but you shouldn't be needing them constantly.
This is so weird hearing you talk about a video game that you actually know what you're talking about. It's really...
I know it is. Who is this
You're telling me
imposter?
advanced strats instead of saying, I don't know, I walked into the room and some dude showed up and I fucked off.
What fucking annoys me is that you cannot sell rockets and drone parts.
Oh, I don't.
Well, why do you have? Well, sometimes you can. Sometimes you get a chance to trade them
if you get
in
if you
events.
get an event, but you cannot sell them at shops. Which
You
makes
can
no
sell them
sense.
to enemy ships by launching them at them. They
taking
accept
their
express
money.
delivery. Yeah, and
But,
then
but,
they
for,
pay
but
you
for
in
that you need
broken
either
parts.
a rocket launcher or
Yeah.
a drone system.
And
That's true.
another counterintuitive thing is sometimes this usually comes down to luck because often what it comes down to is either you get an opportunity to buy a good weapon early on or you find one incidentally. But upgrading your weapons faster than defense, if you have a chance to do it, actually can be a good move. Because a lot of the really bad situations that happen in FDL are when you're fighting an enemy that you just don't have a way to deal with them.
Yes.
Where
That's what fucks me up every time.
Where you can't get through their shields and then you have to sit and wait and hope that they don't hurt you before you can boost away. A lot of times early offense is more important than defense. And I think defense arguably becomes more important towards the middle of the game because the temptation is to upgrade your shields really early. And sometimes that works, but a lot of the times having a second laser beam or something will end up helping you more in the long run because the enemy can't shoot you if they're dead.
True. But what would you recommend in terms of weapons? Because most of the time I don't even have money to buy any weapons, and so I'm stuck pretty much the entire game with the basic layout, which is inadequate for later.
I don't know. And I'm not a master of the game. I can beat it relatively often, but it's still like less than 10%
But you have
of my
beaten
runs.
it, and we have not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, compared to
know,
us,
maybe-
you're light years away.
Oh yeah. Maybe we'll play it sometime. In
Yeah.
terms of weapons, it's good. I don't usually like ion weapons just because I don't like them. Pretty often multiple lasers are better, I think, because they're good at taking down shields.
I like the lasers just because you get that constant, they're just like constantly wearing down something.
Yeah, and if you get like
More
3
than just,
laser
like,
weapons, you can
Here's
shoot like
one recharge.
you can shoot
yeah.
8 bursts. You're gonna get through the shields one way or another.
Yeah.
Missiles can be good, but I usually don't like to buy missiles. If I get a good missile weapon early, incidentally, I'll keep it. I usually don't go out of my way to get them.
Yeah.
I like the idea of going for a transporter build with Mantis people.
Those are
just-
fun.
Just hijacking enemy ships, which is fun.
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
never tried that.
And if you do that, you get extra. If you kill the crew, you get extra
Stuff.
Oh, that makes sense because you didn't blow up the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem is it's tricky, and later in the game, it's easy to run into a situation where you lose a bunch of crew because of just some bullshit event or you get unlucky. Like you accidentally, like your teleporter blows up the moment you need to call him back, and then the oxygen goes away.
And you make 2 Rikers.
Yeah, and oh no.
I was gonna say the other downside of invading is that you don't get to see the cool little animation of the ship breaking apart with all the explosions.
Yeah.
Wait a
That
minute,
is a
there
good
wouldn't be a
point.
fiery explosion in oh, it's the oxygen from inside the ship. Yeah.
I assume that's
there-
a common joke among sci-fi fans.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, if you cut off if you put a leak in their O2 generator and then you blew up the ship, I'll be mad if there's a fiery explosion. I will. I'm just kidding.
It kind of annoys me that there's no real counter to the teleporter system other than maybe the ion weapon. Because
Yeah,
if you
should-
face a Mantis ship, the first thing you hear is intruders on board, and you have to deal with 2 Mantis who deal massive damage in melee.
If only they could put some sellotape on the transporter door.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like to upgrade the doors, even though it's very handy to do so. But I kind of
I forgot you could
skip
do
out
that.
on it.
Well, if you upgrade them just once and then you put a crew member inside there, you have basically fully upgraded doors.
Yeah. Then you can at least use the deprive them of oxygen.
If I get a Mantis, I usually just throw them in the door room because they're not good at repairing shit anyway. They might as well make the doors stronger.
For some
they have
reason, it
fucking
just sits on the
scythes for
weapons.
hands.
from.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll play. Maybe I'll stream FDL and Jaws can watch the master at work and realize I'm not that good at that either. But I'm better than him, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
You should stream Elden Ring, and we backseat game you, like dodge now, fucker.
I mean, it's not the craziest idea. I got stuck on fucking Malekith. Like this is what makes me mad. I got through most of the game.
Oh god, we're gonna go back on this again.
God, fuck it. You started.
He thinks that's most of the game.
God damn it! I'm in the no. The city is broken. I went through the floating flying city place. I'm fighting the beast clergyman guy. I've already beaten the ice place with the giant a while ago. I went through the capital city. I killed the golden ghost of the dude. I killed the Margot or whatever the fuck his name was in the throne room. I'm most of the way through the game, right?
You burnt down the tree.
Yeah. Hey, look up a Halig tree sometime soon, Green.
But I cannot backseat because I have not played it.
What? Enough. Let's talk about a different subject. I think.
And I will say, what time is it? It's 7 here. I have about
3.
I mean, it's a while. I have about 40 minutes until I need to go, so it's not like I can talk endlessly.
I need to go in like 25 too. So
okay, well, oh yeah, I'm gonna change the name of this to MICHI Invades, by the way, because you did.
Dark Spirit MICHI has invaded.
I would have spent another month probably trying to get MICHI to come on the stream, but he just saw me talking and just came in.
Green, you never ask me in the thing. You just assume I'm gonna go into the Discord channel.
I keep telling you're in the Discord channel as a guy on the podcast.
But we talk to each other. We're just like through DMs like almost every day.
Okay,
so just
fine.
Put the link in there. I'm not gonna I don't want to get pinged every time someone in the fucking Cord says hi.
Also, I felt weird reaching out to you lately because you've seemed busy. So I don't want to annoy you with podcast requests every fucking day while you're trying to get your comic out.
I mean, I don't mind a request. If I'm busy, I'll just say no. No, like no hard feelings. I'm not gonna.
Well,
be
not
like,
everyone
Green,
is confident.
Stop fucking begging me.
Some people in this little circle of mine have social anxiety. Michi, did you consider that?
I have social anxiety, but not internet social anxiety. Because who cares?
Oh, right. Good point.
What's true?
Huh. I was actually.
I was gonna read your comic, but I heard you talking on this podcast. You sounded like a bitch. So
is that your Ben Sane impression? Man, does it look like you being on the PC, the newly rebooted PCP? Like that looks set, right? Like it's going to happen at this point. Man,
yeah, for sure. I'm like I don't know who else is on there. I just know it's me and Beast Capades by Ben.
Damn.
Maybe that's all it'll be. Half and half.
You're going to be... It's like sitting on a throne of ashes. It's going to be glorious and tragic at
Dark
the same
Souls
time.
3. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'm most excited is for if everything goes well. I've mentioned this in a few places, but like, Mezil Chapter 1 really was like stupid, crazy, like growing pains. Like I knew how to draw, but I had no idea what it takes to really make a comic, like a proper one. So, and it was while I was doing a bunch of other stuff. So I was like, first few pages was like months apart. And then the last like around 20, I want to say, maybe a bit less pages, and all the text and all the shading and all the bubble offsetting and stuff was all done in the last month. So the bad part of that, it's like it took a long time when it didn't have to, if I'd like dedicated myself wholeheartedly, but kind of I didn't know how to at the start, and I wasn't there yet. And you can see that in the comic, going from page 1 to the last page, you really see my like real-time growth, which is kind of bad because it's not really consistent, but it's kind of good as like a document. But now I really feel like I can just make a 20-page chapter every month without really going crazy.
Well,
I mean, I've already got so much of chapter 2 done.
Ourselves, but I do
no, really.
I mean,
I
will be able to go fast.
I did do 20 pages last month, so I can do 20 pages this month.
Yeah, because that's how life works, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, I have less stuff going on this month, yeah, because university's fucking over.
Oh, good point.
And I'm not gonna go as overboard for most chapters. The first one was really like a showcase. I really wanted to state as, like a thesis statement. To show like all the stuff I wanted to do in comics. I have the loads of ink washes and charcoal and all this crazy stuff. Most chapters probably gonna look like the normal, ink dip pen pages, hatching and stuff.
And
And
I'm not
every now
trying
and then
to
you get a crazy page.
and I'm not
So
trying to discourage you, to be clear. I'm just
I know.
saying, if keeping up an incredible pace, it often. The weird thing about doing creative stuff is it happens on time scales that are larger than most activities. So it's hard
Yeah.
to see, the cycles of energy go over the course of months and years rather than like hours and
Yeah.
days.
I know, but I've gotten like into a good like I have the method down now, I figured out the right kind of paper to use consistently, the right
got
ink,
the
the right
formula.
material. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very look at that. Free on itch.io. Who knew?
Yeah. An intriguing tale set in a fantasy world full of pale adventurers, you say. Bloody magic and cute little phantoms.
People
called
kindly
glums.
described my like very vague story as intriguing, so I'm going with that. I that's another reason I want to get lots of other chapters out fast is to I don't want people to think that I'm just like being vague because I don't know what's going on. I know what's going on in the story. I'm just, giving it out like as the characters would, basically. In the first chapter, there was no reason for anyone to really exposit because everyone knew generally what everyone else was talking about. Now, in the following ones, I'm going to have her thrust in an environment she's unfamiliar with, meet strangers who, there's going to be some explaining going on, basically. You're going to find out what's up with these little guys in the bottles and the ghost powers and the who's who is everyone talking about, etc.
By the way, did you rename the first chapter?
No, I think there's some confusion between the first chapter and the first volume. I named the entire volume that is the next like 10 planned chapters to be Minor Shadows, and the first chapter in the volume is called
I thought
Into
it
the
was
Painted Gray.
Ministrations.
Yeah, a lot of people think stuff like that. I don't know. I like
MICHI
cool
has
metal fonts.
Yeah, MICHI went a little hardcore on choosing his fonts. Some of them are a little hard to read.
And when you say choosing, you mean completely inventing for myself, like in a few minutes.
They look cool.
Fine.
But
thanks.
Yeah, because I thought the chapter titles were songs from the list that
they are.
Made. Okay.
Well, sorry, they're not consistent from that. That is a previous version. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But most of those will still appear. I chose a different song for chapter 1 because it made sense after I'd finished the chapter to choose.
Okay. I listened to
chose
the song in the list as I was reading the chapter.
Oh man, I really wanted people to do that, and I didn't go and update it with the new first chapter. I feel so foolish.
Well,
I'm sorry, Jaws. I've ruined the artistic expression. No, I changed it to, I think the original I had was, I put Bible Silver Corner by Rodan because that's kind of in my head. That's like Meziel's main theme. That wasn't really meant to be a chapter title because it has the word Bible in it, and the Bible doesn't exist in this world. And then, it's a fantasy world, whatever. And then I think I chose Black Lines from the album Minor Shadow. I'm naming the volumes after albums, and that each chapter is a song.
Okay.
But I changed it to Into the Painted Gray by Agaloch, or Agalosh, however you prefer to say it, the American folk metal band. Yes, I think I'm naming second chapter Near Dark by Burial. Will be the second one.
No, that's weird because my book, the chapters are also song names.
Really?
No, I lied.
No, yeah. But that was the case. That's the case for my story.
Oh, right. I just wanted to feel included.
I've been wanting to do that for fucking like years and years. I've always done my first comic like ever when I did in like 2019, 2018. That's on Tapas or whatever. It's called Schism after the Tool song.
Oh, it's best Tool song. Best Tool song.
Yeah, I was really into Tool back then.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. And Mars Volta. Yeah.
Marsh Walter, I did not like what I heard, but 2, yeah.
That sounds like a car.
It does. It does
The
sound
new
like a car.
Marsh Walter.
I don't know. When I was a teen and early, like 2021, I was very into new prog metal stuff.
King
Now I'm-
Crimson, obviously.
Yeah, obviously you can't name anything after any King Crimson thing because
Yeah.
both Boogie Pop and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure did that already. So it's definitely trodden ground.
The problem that if I ever gonna publish my story is that apparently using song names is okay in terms of copyright, but you cannot use lyrics.
Yeah,
And that fucking
I saw the
sucks.
same thing. Yeah, there were.
Because-
I did consider like specific lyrics because it would be like less obvious in a way. But then I was like, oh, you can do the titles though. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder can you still do it if the lyrics are the title? Yes, right? Because
Yeah, I would assume
Yeah.
there's no way to distinguish, right? I mean, you could. If someone asked you, like, did you name this after the
after the lyrics
the
or
lyric or the
something? Yeah.
title?
Yeah.
I'll send you to jail if it was the lyrics.
Yeah.
No, it was the title.
I guess it could make sense because the title is inherently a reference, while using the text could be considered the plagiarism because you're not using the title as a title,
No.
but you
I
are
think
using the text as text.
I
It
think
also
the
could be because like lawyers will be more cautious than they actually need to be. You know, American companies will often be way more worried about copyright than is realistic just because they are afraid.
Yeah. It pisses me off that I have to rename some chapters because they had cool titles and they won't work anymore.
Yeah, that is annoying. I think the logic is that the song titles tend to be like shorter, non-unique things, whereas lyrics, especially taken in the like if you take more than one line, that's definitely something you're not going to find anywhere else.
No.
I guess.
Sometimes.
I mean, having songs named like I don't even know what's a
White Room.
Yeah, white. Well, but there are lots of songs that share the names. That's for sure. So I guess you'd have trouble copyrighting the title of a song because then you'd conflict with other songs.
I love the sun symbol for the album cover.
Oh,
cool.
yeah. It is a cool one.
Ah, god damn it.
I like even though it's kind of cringy, that one in the Wake of Poseidon. They're kind of funny though.
Yeah.
I like them. To me, they always seemed like representation of like deities or something.
I think they are the archetypes.
Ah.
Green. You could search for in
There
the,
it is.
okay. Oh yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
Ah, they're scary.
Yeah.
This is what you see when you die.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the fuck? Okay. That was an odd response.
We know.
Yeah, we know.
We're familiar with this.
Okay.
I've updated the playlist with the song. I need to put
it is.
I need to put chapter 2 in there too.
I think I do want to. It could be fun to write down the songs that I listen to a lot while writing.
Yeah.
Although it's kind of embarrassing too. Like that song Next to You from Parasite. I listened to that on the 1 hour loop like 5,000 times.
But is this the actual song or a remix? I don't remember.
Oh, I'm
the actual
definitely
song.
not referencing like trying to not reference any like anime and stuff because that's already being used by a piece of media. You know what I mean? Like I want to use songs that are just from albums and songs, not stuff that the one exception I made was the Negima opening 1000% sparking. Just because it makes perfect sense in the story. I can't explain. There is a character that will go literally 1000% sparking, so it made sense as a title. Also, it's one of the greatest openings ever fucking made. But that's
I don't know. I like the old Negima opening where they're hitting the beach ball.
I'm a sucker for like animes that have large female casts when they do a song and all the voice actors all sing like a bit of it. It happened to me because of Zetsubo Sensei.
Ah.
Oh, there's also definitely a chapter called Ringo Mogiri Beam, and no one can fucking stop me. That's an attack name. That is an attack name in universe. I don't give a shit.
I love this part of the
I don't
Negima
care if
of-
it means apple picking beam, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, it does. I love the part where he says, "Who are you going to show you the new you to?" And he says, "To the man who disrespected me." And then the rocket takes off.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah. Zetsubo Sensei is me for real. To Shangri-La.
I like-
and they're
I like-
floating in
yeah.
space.
Shangri-La. I love that. I love there's a 4chan board sings Ringo Mogiri Beam is one of the funniest.
Oh my god. That sounds
Have you ever
incredible.
seen that? Look up the thumbnail. Look up the thumbnail. It's really funny.
I'll try.
Just put A/A sings Ringo Mogiri Beam.
Okay, how do you say Ringo Moguri Beam?
Ringo, like Ringo Starr.
Ringo.
Then M. This is my password and all my. I should have said that. That first one there on the left. Yeah, yeah,
So
baby.
good.
They're all like out of tune, and they're all like fat guys singing. It's really funny. They're all going.
I wouldn't trust A to change a fucking tire, much alone sing a song in a chorus.
I love that video. It's great. It's unironically good. Anyway, yeah, when all the voice actresses sing in their character voices, like every little different bit of the song. I mean, the Zetsubo ones are just perfect because they're singing over awesome metal riffs, and Kenji Otsuki is just fucking belting over them, and they're doing like duet. He's duetting with all these teenage girls. It's perfect. All of the Zetsubo openings are.
Zetsubo Sensei is so funny because it has kind of the structure of a harem, but he's just such a broken, impotent fuck that there's no danger of him doing anything. One of the funniest jokes is when
Hafuke is like top 10 characters for me always. I love her.
One of the funniest jokes is when he falls into the hot springs with them, and he's the one who screams and covers himself and runs away.
That's right. I forgot about that. Oh, it's so good. I love that Maria is just an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
That doesn't wear underwear.
All right. Nailed that shit.
That's part of the joke.
Yeah,
doesn't have
illegal
clothes.
immigrants don't wear underwear. That
They
makes so
don't.
much sense.
Oh man.
Man.
And Jaws, have you read the manga?
I've not read the manga. I've also
I could
not
spoil
seen
you
that.
both so hard.
Don't. I know
I'm-
something happens. Don't tell me.
There's a famous reveal.
Do you
I'm not
gotta
gonna
be?
say it. I'm not gonna say
I
it.
will ban you.
I'm just saying there is a famous reveal that like flips the whole premise on its head, and there's multiple clues in all the openings that are pointing to the true nature of this show, and none of you know.
I
It's
know
funny.
about it, but I've forgotten half of it, so it's not in my mind really anymore. So if I were to read it, I would at least be able to get it halfway.
It's just one of those things where like once you know and you go and you rewatch both the openings and the episodes, you're like, oh my god, it's great.
I love the gag where they take. I think it's one of the producers.
That's the director. That's the director.
The director. They slap his face over the censorship.
Click that image underneath the almost down one and then two to the left. No.
No. Damn it.
What have you done?
What have I done? I can't.
That wasn't even the image. It was the Napoleon-looking guy.
Oh,
he looks like Admiral Perry or something.
There. Okay, down now. Down from there.
This one.
No, down. What is wrong with you? Yes,
This
that one.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. You kept
I
saying
want to
the
see
Napoleon
the cute
guy.
Kafka. She has the best character design. Look at her.
She's pretty.
She's
pretty
cool.
good.
Yeah.
She is. She's got the cool cut into the like she has the bang, but then she has a cut on the side of the bang. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it
It's
good.
like the lane hairbands.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me that the newer show by this guy, or based on his newer manga, where it's about the manga artist trying to hide the fact that he's a cool manga artist from his daughter. I tried to watch it and it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't as good. And I found it sadly poetic, where he ended up making a manga about how he had lost his edge as a manga artist, but that was okay because he has a good life now. And
I'm
the show isn't as
amazed.
good, and he still makes $1 million off of it. So it's like, I guess he won.
I don't know for how long he drew traditionally, but it's pretty amazing because like I don't think his art is like it's not especially like my thing. I think it's cool, but it is like weirdly clean, like so that every page looks like it was like a woodcut or like it's like it was printed. That's not the best example, but like his characters are all so like clearly defined outlines. All the shades are like just pure black and stuff. The cool artwork is just very precise and clean. Like it's very strange. He makes no mistakes apparently.
I don't want to
Very
click on it.
strange.
I think there's a dojin of it looks like a tiger having sex
Yeah,
with one of the. I'm gonna
yeah.
not click on that.
That's definitely a dojin. I mean, that's her whole thing is that she gets horny from
From the
rubbing
animals, right?
animal parts. Yeah. She like
Yeah.
rubs tails and stuff. Click that cool one to a diagonal bottom right of a Cheery with the in front of all those dolls or whatever.
Okay.
That one. That
Can
looks
you see
good.
my
That looks like
cursor?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if. Oh no, the audience.
You see what I
can.
mean? He like I guess it must be digital, but if it is, it's really early digital. Or maybe he did the drawings in separate things and then digitally layered them. He really like
I mean, that
layers
was
stuff
interesting.
in a very clean, like it looks like a bunch of stickers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get you. What the
Yeah.
fuck were we even talking? Weren't we supposed to be talking about books? Who cares? I don't
Is that
give a
supposed
shit.
to say is a book?
Read Blood Meridian.
That's him. The third image from the left at the top is him reading Blood Meridian.
Oh,
Yep.
Subarashi.
What's that say? The hapless something Edward
Edward George. I don't know.
Edward Gore?
I know.
What is this?
See, this is what a stream should be. It should be me getting frustrated while people barge in and make it about themselves, and then we just talk about old anime for a while.
Yeah.
Green, the
That's how it's
outro
supposed to be.
the outro of all the episodes should be A sings Ringo Mogiri Beam, like fading out.
No, it should be
Yeah.
the Nameningen song. I only
Oh
just
yeah.
a couple of days recognized that the characters in your little yin yang actually say Nameningen, which I can
Holy
now read
shit!
because
Yeah,
because I
someone
can read
noticed.
Japanese now.
Wow.
Fucking great. I mean, me and Michi. I think I told Michi about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
when I made it.
I
or
definitely
not-
didn't. I
or
mean,
when
I
met
don't
you.
know. I can't read any kanji.
It was years, but yeah, that's so clever, isn't it? Like Dame Ningen. I think
Yeah.
about getting that as a tattoo sometime, but that's a big bridge to cross.
Takes a really long time to explain.
Well, yeah, and I just mean the characters. And if
You
I
have
ever
20
went
minutes.
if I ever went to Japan, that would be a big fucking problem.
That would be really funny.
Because in Japan, tattoos are
You would
okay.
You would be the new Ethan Ralph video. Guy
Yeah,
gets the
exactly.
shit kicked out of him, except you wouldn't because they'd all be like 2 feet tall, and
Yeah.
you'd be this massive bearded. You would be like holding their forehead while they like windmill spin their arms.
That is the cool thing about being a basically average guy in the West. If you ever want to have this power fantasy of being really strong, you can just go to the East.
Jaws, when Green came over, it was the funniest fucking thing. He was walking around and he was like, "My God, everyone's so gorgeous and thin. I feel like I'm the biggest man in the world."
No, Michi!
That was so
I
funny.
don't think I saw a single person in Portugal fatter than me. No, tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're right. I mean,
It
Part
was
of it is,
fucking
like-
horrible.
well, two things. It's like our national dishes, a lot of them are fish based because it's a coastal country. That's healthier in general than cheeseburgers. And also it's really hot, so most of us are like sweating our fat out. I'm currently sitting in a fucking oven. It makes my ink dry really fast. It's like that JoJo arc when
Yeah,
where
the
what's it
time
called?
speeds up.
yeah
I think-
what's he called? The manga guy,
Rohan.
Ranpo, right?
Are we
Yeah.
talking about Sayonara?
No, no.
No, JoJo. What's the
Rohan-
JoJo
Oh.
manga artist?
Rohan
called?
Kishibe.
Yeah, Ron
Rohan-
Kishibe.
Okay,
yeah,
I was
when
making
he,
sure you don't mean
when
a Rocky, right?
No. When Rohan draws the manga pages, like he has to draw it in like 2 seconds before the ink dries on his thing.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest jokes actually.
Yeah.
I don't like part 6, but that was super fucking funny. So for
Yeah.
context, because I don't think Green has.
There he is. Look at that
seen
gif.
or
Look at
read
that gif
part.
in the corner at the bottom there, Green. No, down that one. Yeah, that's him. That's him getting ready to. He literally he just draws it in like 2 seconds and then he's like done.
Because the JoJo villain in that arc, he basically manages to speed up time for everything, and the manga. All mangakas cannot keep their deadline because of that, and Kishibe Rohan is the only one who can, because it's just so good. It's one of the funniest jokes.
It's like a fat guy on the phone, and he's like, "I can't draw. The ink draws instantly." And then he's on the phone. He's like, "There's only one mangaka currently publishing. Who is it? It's Kishibe Rohan." And then it shows him. That Araki chose that. That's the biggest loss for the world, that the time is sped up. The biggest problem in the world is that manga isn't coming out on time. No.
Araki's just a beautiful soul.
He is.
He just enjoys things in a way that you just have to love him. You just have to be happy he's happy.
Those Kishibe Rohan the spoke covers are the most gorgeous artwork he's done so far, I think. I have mixed feelings about really
how
next level,
how clean and precise his art became over time. It's not.
I that's when I started liking it, when he loses the like awkward, weird proportions and just starts basing everything on Michelangelo's David.
I feel like
that's when it becomes brilliant.
I feel like part 5, part 6 might be my favorite era of his style. When he switched over to
still ball run arts is when it gets really good for me.
I still haven't read it. I know I need to. I
haven't read all of it yet.
I got stuck in a rough part of part 6, and everyone tells me. I do know when the time shenanigans happen in part 6, which everyone knows. I'm not going to say it, but everyone fucking knows. I know it's canon. There are 2 people who survive it. 1 or 2 people who are not affected by it, where Rohan can just draw so fast that he's basically fine. And then Giorno could use Gold Experience Requiem, and he was not affected by it because he can circumvent time, like how he beat King Crimson. Yeah, just a fun topic. Oh, by the way,
I was going to say about Kishibe Rohan. I love when Araki, he's like so detailed in all his clothing and fashion and stuff, and then he'll just give a character a Burger King like paper crown, like a fucking Christmas cracker.
Oh yeah,
like,
I've
fold out
those.
paper, and he'll just like draw it seriously. Like it's kind of like a like fourth wall object in a way, where like it makes no sense. Like, how doesn't it fall off his head? What is it? But he just like takes it seriously. It's so, I love when he does that. Like the announcer, the rich guy in Steel Ball Run, everyone else has normal hair, and he for some reason has this kind of like, it's like a slice of cheese, flat pointy hair, and it makes no sense. And he just like puts him in the same shot as these people with like very detailed, long flowing hair.
The fucking head of is it Jotaro? The guy from part 3. His head makes no sense. In terms how it sits on his hair. Just look that up.
His hair.
You were not the first person to notice this. I'm just going to say that.
But that's the thing. Like, he has the confidence to be like, it looks cool that his hair is fused with his hat, but his hat doesn't fall off. It's like halfway between a like cool Yankee like pilot cap and one of those like visors. And it's like, what the fuck?
I have mixed feelings about Jotaro. Part of me wants him to be my favorite JoJo,
Mako.
And part of me thinks he's the worst and he's fucking terrible. I feel that way about everything with part 3.
The brilliant thing about it is that it's like, it's fused with his hair, but it looks like a burst cap, like it got like shot from the inside with a shotgun.
I think early on there are actually, I want to say there are early drawings of Jotaro where you can see the seam and it actually is torn, but then he just went with it.
I mean, the villain of part 7 is literally a fat midget man, and then the next time he draws him, he's a big, muscly, beautiful, funny Valentine. So
that's
And he just said, I like to imagine the behind the scenes he just worked out a lot. Because he's just like, I just changed the character design. Yep. Chadaraki.
I
That's for
was
sure.
shitting on the Part 6 adaptation because, yeah, I really didn't like it.
Oh god, in part 4 it's even worse, his hair. It
The way they
fuses into
release.
it fuses into the whiteness of his put that the first image. What is this?
Yeah.
No, they did that.
I mean,
Don't they?
it's
Doesn't he
cool.
still have
It's
the hat in
cool,
Steel
though.
Ball Run? It's just or no in Stone Ocean. Why does he look 27 in Stone Ocean?
Because he's 27.
Why is he still wearing the fucking outfit? Like he's an old man.
That's his outfit, Green. That's his style.
He's got to be at least in his mid 40s, and he wears goofier outfits as a middle-aged
agree.
man than when he was the fucking Genki
It would have been
kid.
weird. It would have been weird if Joseph, when he was an old man, was still wearing the torn vest, the sleeveless vest and the scarf.
Joseph is such a good fucking character. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
I love how his power sucks so
Oh,
hard. It's so
no.
funny.
Okay, I'm done.
I
I'm
love
done.
how his power is to punch cameras. Everyone else everyone else has all these cool powers, and he's like, I wonder what mine will be. That implies that if Joseph from the first arc had lived, not Joseph, if Jonathan had lived, he would have had a power that would be like he could grab orange pips and throw them in the air and tell what time of day it was, or some useless
that
nonsense.
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's like all the Haman guys suck at having stands, apparently.
I think there actually is a reference where, like, when they take the picture of Dio, I think there are thorny vines growing around him, where the implication is that Jonathan would have had a stand like Hermit Purple.
I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. Shit, I have to go.
I have to go soon too. Why are we doing this? Oh, real quick, I'll say
because it's fun. I wish I could talk
right.
about stupid JoJo stuff, but
we can do this. I stream now. Just let me know.
Hey, well, I have to go fix my mom's PC apparently because it's on the fritz.
Okay. Okay. Bye. Hope your mom does well. Tell her I say
Goodbye.
hi. You know, she did
I
meet me
will.
once.
Yeah,
Okay.
bye, Jaws.
That's my
Green.
calling card now.
That was
Bye,
fun.
Michi. It was cool. I have to go to work soon too. Okay, he's gone. Well, that was fucking. I don't even know what's going on.
What do you mean? Regular stream experience, just the way it should be.
Yeah, just the way it should be. See, this is the problem with streams, and I've been thinking about this myself. I'm not sure the right way to do topics. Like, should the topic just be a mission statement, and then whatever happens, happens?
I mean, that's how things are going for the moment. So,
okay, maybe every now and again we'll have something that actually matters, but then most of the time we don't. The problem is what do I type into the stream thing? Like, I put tidying book and writing with Jaws. That shit didn't happen, or it did very briefly.
It did happen. It's just not the whole stream.
Yeah, okay, but what should I type in because you have to have a title for the stream at the beginning. Should I just say
Talking.
Streaming? Question mark?
You could.
Because I can't predict what's going to happen. I can rename it afterwards.
True. No, it would just make sense if we start off with some topic and that's the name of the stream, and then things evolve from there, just how it has been happening.
I mean, this was fun. It was fun to talk. Did you enjoy talking?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, it was nice. It's good to have people to talk to.
Yes.
The only problem is it is hard during the week because most of the people I have are on different continents, so I have to get up really early.
Yeah, this is
which
also hard for me.
Which I don't even hate necessarily because it gets me out and about. It's just I don't know. Maybe Tuesdays will just be the day, and I'll just try to stream every Tuesday, and whoever's around will show up. Because Tuesday is usually Thupa's day.
Yeah, Tuesday is the super day.
But then he abandoned us, and then Michi showed up. Nothing went according to plan.
But it was good.
Well, this was cool. You have a parting thought, Jaws. I guess we'll have an actual talk about books next week, hopefully.
Or I mean, if over the Sanderson talk, if Super can make it.
Because I want to scream at Thupa about Sanderson. I want to break his spirit.
He's unbreakable. He's so broken that he's become unbreakable. Super is unbreakable. That's the end of the stream.
Okay. there, I just stopped the sharing. Well,
It still says live.
wait. It might say live, but it should go to